At 7:04 on Monday morning, Evelyn Mercer punched 1987 into the office keypad and got a red light. She tried again, slower, red. The code was Frank's favorite joke. The year they'd started the company, as if anyone breaking into a cleaning office would study the history of Mercer Home Care first. He had refused to change it for 38 years. Frank had been buried 4 days ago. Evelyn was reaching for her phone when Vanessa's gray SUV turned into the lot. Her daughter parked across 2 spaces, got out carrying a banker's box, and walked toward her in heels too narrow for 7 in the morning. "You changed the code," Evelyn said. "I changed all the access." Vanessa set the box on the hood of Evelyn's station wagon. Inside were Evelyn's spare shoes, her chipped coffee mug, a framed photograph of Frank asleep at his desk, and the blue binder that contained the private details of 83 households. "Mom, I took control of the accounts on Friday." Evelyn looked from the box to her daughter's face. Vanessa had worn waterproof mascara to her father's funeral. She was wearing it now. All the accounts, all of them. There were questions a mother could ask without making herself smaller. Evelyn could not find one. A delivery truck groaned past on Hawthorne Avenue. Across the lot, the motion light above Mercer Home Care blinked off, leaving the gold letters on the glass door dull and gray. "You should have called me," Evelyn said. "I knew you'd come early. That is not the same thing." "No." Vanessa folded her arms. "It isn't." The office occupied the least attractive end of a 1-story brick strip between a tax preparer and a store that sold church hats. Evelyn had always liked it. The rent was reasonable, the alley was wide enough for the vans, and Mrs. Larkin next door displayed the hats on white foam heads that appeared to watch Frank smoke behind the dumpster. Evelyn picked up the blue binder. A square yellow note protruded from the section marked H through L. Hannigan, Paula, silver cleaner under kitchen sink, not laundry sink, never move ceramic dog. It was written in Evelyn's own hand. "What does taking control mean?" she asked. "It means I'm managing the company. You were already managing it. I was doing the work. Dad was managing it in theory. Your father has been dead 4 days. He was sick for 11 months. The answer came too fast to have been invented that morning." Evelyn put the binder back in the box. "And where exactly am I supposed to be while you're managing?" "Home, for a start. Home, resting, eating something that didn't come on a church tray, figuring out what you want your life to look like. My life looks like me opening that door." Vanessa's mouth tightened. She had Frank's mouth, especially when she was determined not to laugh or cry. "That's what I'm trying to change." She took a white envelope from her bag and held it out. Evelyn did not accept it, so Vanessa laid it on top of the photograph. "I've arranged a monthly stipend. It isn't huge, but it covers your basics. We'll revisit the amount after the next 2 quarters. Your health insurance stays in place, obviously. Obviously. And I want you involved in a way that doesn't put daily operations in conflict." Founder Emerita is what Grant suggested. For one strange second, Evelyn thought she had misheard her. Founder what? Emerita. That sounds like a fern. It's an honorary title. Ferns are honorary. They sit in corners, and people forget to water them. Vanessa almost smiled. The expression appeared and vanished so quickly that Evelyn hated them both for it. "Mom, please don't do this." Evelyn looked down at her black flats in the box. One had a pale ring across the toe from the day Rosa spilled floor wax in the supply room. Her good shoes were on her feet because she had not yet stopped dressing as if someone might come by to discuss Frank. Grief had produced casseroles, lilies, and an alarming number of pound cakes. It had not produced permission to show up in old sneakers. "Do what?" she asked. "Make me the cruel daughter because I'm the one willing to say you can't keep working like this. You put my shoes in a box. You slept here twice last week. The hospital was 10 minutes away. You told me you slept at home. I didn't want you fussing. I was already fussing. I just didn't know where to direct it." Vanessa rubbed the side of her thumb, a habit she had developed in college and never noticed. "You're exhausted. Your knees are worse. You walked out of Dad's burial and called Rosa to ask whether the Belden team had enough grout cleaner. They had a new marble shower. You can't use just anything. Do you hear yourself?" "Yes. Perfectly." "I don't think you do." The door behind Vanessa opened. A young man Evelyn recognized from the weekend cruise stepped halfway out, saw them, and stopped. "Morning, Mrs. Mercer. Morning, Darnell." Vanessa turned. "Can you give us 5 minutes?" "Yes, ma'am, and make sure the supply order is checked against the new inventory sheet." Darnell disappeared inside. The door clicked shut before Evelyn could ask how his mother's move had gone. He was 28 years old enough not to need her asking, and she knew that. She also knew he would have answered. Vanessa lowered her voice. "This is exactly why I wanted to do it before staff arrived. Then you should have come at 6:30. Normal people are asleep at 6:30. Normal people have dirty houses." A car pulled in near the tax office. Mrs. Larkin climbed out wearing a purple coat and paused with one hand on her door. Evelyn lifted 2 fingers in greeting. Mrs. Larkin looked at the box, looked at Vanessa, then became intensely interested in her handbag. Vanessa exhaled. "The legal transition was completed last month. You signed the consent forms. Dad signed the succession documents. The operating accounts, client contracts, vehicles, and lease are under Mercer Home Care. I am the managing owner. I know what I signed. Do you?" The question landed harder than if Vanessa had accused her of stupidity. Evelyn remembered the hospital family lounge, its fake wood table sticky beneath her wrist. Frank had been upstairs arguing with a respiratory therapist about coffee. Vanessa had put small flags beside 3 signature lines. Evelyn had read the first page and half the second before Frank called her name from the hallway. She had known what the papers did. She had not known they meant Vanessa could put her shoes in a box. "I trusted the 2 of you," she said. Vanessa flinched, then covered it by reaching for her keys. "And we kept the company alive." "We? You know what I mean." "No, honey, today I don't seem to know much." The endearment was an old reflex, and it sounded worse than anger. Vanessa stared toward the road. "Dad left bills you haven't seen. 2 vans need replacing. We've been using deposits from new work to cover old payroll gaps. He kept lowering prices because he liked people. So did I." "Yes, that's part of the problem." Evelyn's fingers curled around the cardboard handle of the box. The weight pulled against her knuckles. "Are you saying I'm fired? I'm saying you don't work here anymore. That is how people with honorary ferns say fired. I'm trying to give you a dignified transition. You could begin by not using the word dignified in a parking lot." Vanessa closed her eyes. When she opened them, the softness was gone. "I sent the customer notice at 6. I've redirected calls to the new office line. If customers contact you personally, please don't discuss schedules, employees, pricing, or internal matters. Tell them to call the office. Customers have my home number. I know. Some of them had it before you were born. I know that too. They won't understand why I can't answer a simple question. Then tell them you're retired. I'm not retired. You are as of today." The cruelty of it was not in Vanessa's raised voice, because she never raised it. It was in the clean, completed shape of the sentence. Evelyn lifted the box into the back of the station wagon. The hatch resisted before catching. Frank had promised to fix the latch in March. Then, April. By May, they had begun speaking in appointment times and medication names, and the latch had become too small to mention. Vanessa stood with the envelope still on top of the photograph. "You'll read that?" she asked. "I can still read?" "I didn't mean, I know what you meant." Evelyn got behind the wheel. Her hands knew the morning route before she decided where she was going. Right on Hawthorne, left at the pharmacy, past the diner where the crews bought coffee, then toward the warehouse club for paper towels and nitrile gloves. She drove 3 blocks before remembering she had nowhere to put them. At home, 6 foil-covered dishes waited on the kitchen counter. Someone had written "chicken tetrazzini" in black marker across one lid, as if grief made people suspicious of noodles. Evelyn moved the dish to the refrigerator and found there was no room. She took out a bowl of grapes that had softened to the texture of earlobes and dropped them one by one into the trash. The house was quiet except for the refrigerator motor and Frank's wall clock, which ran 2 minutes fast because he considered punctuality a moral virtue for everyone but himself. Her phone buzzed. The email from Mercer Home Care had reached her personal address along with the customers. A new chapter for Mercer Home Care. The message included a photograph of Vanessa in the office lobby wearing a navy jacket. Evelyn recognized the picture. She had taken it 18 months earlier, after Vanessa landed the Halpern condominium contract. Frank had complained that Vanessa's jacket made the company look expensive. The announcement praised Frank's leadership, mentioned his passing, and promised continuity. Near the bottom, Evelyn found herself. After decades of dedicated service, our beloved co-founder, Evelyn Mercer, will step into a well-earned retirement and remain part of the Mercer family as founder emerita. Beloved sat on the screen like a thumb pressed into a bruise. The first customer called at 8:12. Evelyn watched Paula Hannigan's name flash until the call went to voicemail. At 8:15, Paula called again. Then came a text. Evelyn, what is this retirement nonsense? Call me. At 8:19, Dr. Royce left a message asking whether Tuesday service was still Tuesday. At 8:23, a number Evelyn did not recognize called twice and gave up. She placed the phone face down. Without work, the morning had no edges. She carried Frank's photograph from the box to the mantel, decided it made the room look funereal, and moved it to the bookshelf. There it looked as if he had fallen asleep while reading. That was better. She washed her coffee mug. She sorted the mail. She opened Vanessa's envelope and read the stipend proposal twice, though the numbers did not improve through repetition. The amount would cover groceries, utilities, and most of the property tax if nothing broke, and she never developed a taste for heat. At 9, she put on her old flats. She told herself it was because the good shoes pinched. At 9:07, Rosa Delgado called. Rosa did not begin with hello. Vanessa fired me. Evelyn sat down at the kitchen table. For what? Mrs. Bell says her diamond bracelet is gone. Mrs. Bell loses that bracelet twice a year. Well, this time she has decided I stole it. Who was in the house? Me and Tasha, same as always. Vanessa says she can't keep someone under suspicion on a trust account. The phrase sounded like Vanessa trust account, as if trust were a category in a spreadsheet. Where are you? Evelyn asked. In my car behind the office. I didn't know who else to call. Through the window above the sink, Evelyn could see Frank's old thermos on the porch rail where she had left it after the hospital. The red plastic cup was cracked down one side. Vanessa had the lease, the vans, the contracts, the passwords, and the bank balance. She had every account neatly transferred before sunrise. But Rosa had called Evelyn. Don't leave yet, Evelyn said. I'm putting on my coat. Rosa's car was parked behind the office beside the recycling bins, where customers could not see her from the road. She sat rigidly behind the wheel of a 12-year-old Corolla, with one hand gripping the other wrist. Evelyn parked beside her and got out. Her knees objected to the cold, and she waited for them to settle before crossing the narrow strip of asphalt. Rosa lowered the window. You came fast. You sounded fired. I am very fired. Where's Tasha? Vanessa sent her to the Wexler job with Darnell. She told her not to talk to me until they finish reviewing what happened. Reviewing what? You were both in the same house. Apparently, that is the problem. Rosa unlocked the passenger door. Evelyn got in, moving a canvas lunch bag and a roll of trash liners from the seat. The car smelled like peppermint gum and the lavender hand lotion Rosa bought in bulk. Through the rear windshield, the blinds in Vanessa's office shifted. She knows you called me, Evelyn said. She knows I call my sister when the grocery store changes the soup aisle. Of course I called you. What exactly happened? Rosa stared through the windshield. Mrs. Bell called the office at 6:30. Said she took off the bracelet in her dressing room yesterday afternoon and left it in the little silver bowl. She noticed it missing last night. Vanessa called me before 7 and asked whether I touched it. And did you? I dusted the bowl. Did you move it? No. It was empty. Was Mrs. Bell in the room? She was running in and out, packing for that trip with her friend. The mountain place. Asheville. Yes. She changed clothes 3 times while we were there. Tasha did the bathroom and upstairs hall. I did the bedroom and dressing room. Mrs. Bell had clothes everywhere. What did Vanessa say after you explained? She asked if I would consent to having my car searched. Evelyn turned. She what? I said yes. Then she said she wasn't actually going to search it, because that could create a legal issue. Then she asked me to write down everywhere I went after leaving the house. Rosa gave a small, humorless laugh. Gas station, my sister's apartment, home, big criminal evening. And then she fired you? Suspended first. For 9 minutes. Rosa looked down at her hands. She called back and said, Mrs. Bell was too important an account to leave in doubt. I asked if she was firing Tasha too. She said Tasha didn't have direct access to the dressing room. Tasha could walk from a bathroom to a dressing room. I mentioned doors to her. Despite herself, Evelyn smiled. Rosa's mouth twitched, but her eyes stayed bright. I've been with you 21 years. I took $5 from your purse once, and that was because you asked me to buy you a sandwich. You brought back the change, because the sandwich was bad. It was egg salad from a gas station. We both made choices. The blinds shifted again. Rosa noticed. She'll come out. Let her. No. Rosa caught Evelyn's sleeve. Don't fight with her on my account. This is exactly an account worth fighting over. I mean it. You just buried your husband, and that has made everybody think I should sit somewhere upholstered while they rearrange my life. Rosa released her. I can't afford to be the reason you and Vanessa stop speaking. You are giving yourself an impressive amount of power. You taught me to leave a house cleaner than I found it. That includes families. Evelyn considered that. Rosa had a way of delivering rebukes that sounded like housekeeping advice. Did Mrs. Bell call you? Evelyn asked. Not me. Would you mind if I called her? I mind all of this. That's not an answer. Rosa reached for the packet of gum in the console, pressed out a piece, then held the packet toward Evelyn. Evelyn took one. Call her, Rosa said. Evelyn found Celeste Bell's number in her contacts. Before pressing it, she looked toward the office. Vanessa had stepped into the supply room, visible through the side window. She was speaking to Darnell with a clipboard held against her chest. She did not look outside. Celeste answered on the first ring. Evelyn, thank God. I have been trying to reach the office since that girl told me they were handling it. That girl is my daughter. I know who she is. I meant the other girl. Then I don't know who you mean. There was a pause. Celeste Bell had been a customer for 17 years and had never once learned Tasha's name. She tipped generously at Christmas. My bracelet is gone, she said. I heard. It was my mother's. I remember. I'm not accusing anyone. I told Vanessa that. I only said it disappeared while the cleaners were here. That sounds enough like an accusation to get Rosa fired. Beside her, Rosa closed her eyes. Celeste's voice sharpened. I did not ask her to fire Rosa. Would you be comfortable if I stopped by? Are you still with the company? The email said, you retired. I'm not calling for the company. Then why would you come? Because you sound upset, and because nobody should lose a 21-year job while there is still a sensible place to look. Celeste was silent long enough for Evelyn to hear a clock chiming in the background. All right, she said, but I have already looked everywhere. People generally meant they had looked everywhere their memory told them to look. That was different from everywhere. Evelyn drove alone. Rosa refused to come, saying Celeste would feel cornered if the accused woman arrived with backup. It was a sound judgment, which only made her firing more ridiculous. The Bell house sat on a wooded acre behind stone pillars, and a gate that opened so slowly visitors had time to reconsider why they had come. Celeste met Evelyn in the foyer, wearing cream slacks, a cashmere cardigan, and only one earring. I can't find the other pearl either, she said. This whole house is turning on me. Maybe the bracelet and the earring ran away together. I'm not in the mood for humor. That's when it works best. Celeste led her upstairs. The dressing room was larger than Evelyn's first apartment. Open suitcases covered a velvet bench. Sweaters lay in stacks according to colors Celeste called oatmeal, moss, and wine. Evelyn saw beige, green, and purple. The silver bowl sat on a mirrored vanity between two perfume bottles. It held a safety pin, 3 foreign coins, and a button. I took the bracelet off right there, Celeste said. I remember hearing it hit the bowl. When? Yesterday afternoon. Before Rosa arrived? During. I was changing for lunch. Lunch was before noon. A late lunch. You said afternoon. It was daylight, Evelyn. This was not irritation so much as fear wearing expensive clothes. Evelyn recognized it. Frank had begun speaking that way when dates slipped loose in his mind after the stronger pain medicine. She sat on the velvet bench because her knees requested diplomacy. Start with what you wore. Celeste pointed to a silk blouse hanging from a wardrobe door. That, with the gray trousers. And you changed because... Marion said Asheville would be colder than expected. I thought I should pack the blouse instead. You removed the bracelet so it wouldn't snag. Yes. Then what? I put it in the bowl. Show me. Celeste removed the bracelet from her other wrist and dropped it into the bowl. It made a light, bright click. That's the sound, she said. What did you do next? I took off the blouse. Here? Of course here. Then where did the blouse go? Celeste pointed to the wardrobe door. The blouse was buttoned and freshly pressed, not something removed halfway through frantic packing. Did Rosa press that? No. I did this morning. Then it wasn't hanging there yesterday. Celeste looked offended by the garment. I may have put it on the chair. There were 2 chairs. One held folded scarves. The other held a shopping bag full of shoes, each pair nested inside a satin pouch. Evelyn got up and moved toward it. I checked those, Celeste said. Then we'll check them again and enjoy being right. She handed Celeste the pouches, one at a time. Celeste opened each, shook it, and returned it to the bag. Loafers, black heels, walking shoes so white they seemed aspirational. The sixth pouch contained no shoes. Celeste frowned. That's not right. She reached inside and removed the missing pearl earring. Neither woman spoke. Celeste felt along the satin lining, then turned the pouch upside down. The diamond bracelet slid into her palm. She sat in the nearest chair. I don't remember doing this. You were packing. You wanted it somewhere soft. I said Rosa was in the room. She was. I told Vanessa. Yes. Celeste ran her thumb across the bracelet's clasp. I should call her. You should call Rosa first. Celeste looked up as if Evelyn had suggested she address an auditorium without notes. I'm embarrassed. So is Rosa. Only she's also unemployed. The call lasted less than 2 minutes. Celeste apologized with stiff precision. Rosa accepted with a gentleness Evelyn knew would make Celeste feel worse later, when gentleness had room to work. Then Celeste called Mercer Home Care. Vanessa listened, thanked her, and assured her that the matter would be corrected in the company record. Evelyn waited until the call ended. Ask her about Rosa. Celeste did. Vanessa's answer could not be heard from across the room, but Celeste's expression changed. I see, she said. Yes. I understand you have procedures. When she hung up, she placed the phone carefully on the vanity. She says the termination stands. Evelyn felt something inside her become very still. Why? She said a trust-based company has to maintain zero doubt. There is no doubt. The bracelet was in your shoe bag. She said the investigation revealed process failures. What process failures? She didn't specify. Evelyn took out her own phone. Vanessa answered with, Are you at Mrs. Bell's? The bracelet was packed with her shoes. I heard. Rosa didn't take it. I heard that too. Then put her back on tomorrow's schedule. A pause opened between them. I can't, Vanessa said. You can, you won't. Rosa involved you in an internal investigation after being directed not to discuss it. She called me after you fired her. She gave you confidential customer information. She told me Celeste Bell lost a bracelet. Celeste has lost that bracelet before. That doesn't make this acceptable. No, Vanessa. Most of what happened this morning is not acceptable. Celeste turned away and began arranging perfume bottles that did not need arranging. Vanessa's voice dropped. You do not work here anymore. You cannot intervene every time you dislike a decision. I didn't intervene. I found a bracelet. You went to a client's home, at her invitation, because Rosa gave you her name. I have known her 17 years, and now I have to explain to every employee that the chain of authority still exists, even if they can get a different answer by calling you. Evelyn saw the shape of it then. Vanessa was not defending the decision because it was right. She was defending the border she had drawn around herself. What would it cost you to admit you moved too fast? Evelyn asked. I'm not discussing personnel with you. Apparently it costs quite a lot. Vanessa ended the call. Celeste offered Evelyn coffee. Evelyn declined. The house no longer felt like a customer's house, but it did not yet feel like a friend's. She was standing in the uncomfortable space between the two. On the drive home, Rosa called. She still won't take me back, she said. I know. I have 11 days of vacation she owes me. She'll pay it. She'd better. Evelyn pulled into her driveway and found Paula Hannigan sitting on the porch beside Frank's cracked thermos. Paula rose as Evelyn parked. You don't answer your phone now that you're retired? Paula called. I'm not retired. Good. My brother has to be out of his condominium by Friday, and every room looks like a hardware store had a nervous breakdown. Call Mercer. They can send a team. I did. Vanessa says they don't do packing, sorting, or hauling. They never have. Paula glanced at Rosa's name glowing on the dashboard screen. I didn't ask what Mercer does, she said. I asked if you know somebody who can help. Evelyn looked at the phone, then at the blue binder lying in the open box behind her seat. Yes, she said slowly. I might. Paula did not wait to be invited inside. She picked up Frank's thermos, examined the crack in its red cup, and carried it into the kitchen as if she had come to return something she had borrowed. I brought soup, she said. You're sitting beside 6 casseroles. Soup is not casserole. In sufficient quantity, it becomes 1. Paula opened Evelyn's refrigerator, moved a covered dish to a lower shelf, and inserted a glass jar between a fruit salad and something containing crushed potato chips. She had been a Mercer customer for 12 years and a widow for 9, which gave her strong opinions about what other widows should eat. Evelyn set the blue binder on a kitchen chair. "What happened with your brother?" she asked. "Owen happened with Owen. He sold his condominium in January and has spent 4 months explaining why packing is premature. The closing is Friday. Where is he moving?" "A 1-bedroom apartment near the river. He says he's simplifying. Apparently that means trying to fit 3 socket wrench sets into 1 bedroom. Does he want help?" "He wants Friday not to occur." "That wasn't my question." Paula leaned against the counter. "He agreed I could find someone after a cardboard box fell on him." "Was he hurt?" "Only philosophically." Evelyn's phone was still connected to the car. Rosa's voice came faintly from the open door. "I can hear both of you?" Paula lifted her eyebrows. Evelyn picked up the phone. "Rosa, Paula Hannigan needs help clearing her brother's condominium by Friday." "What kind of clearing? Packing, sorting, possibly hauling? That is not what we do. At the moment, neither of us does anything." Rosa was quiet. Paula walked over and spoke toward the phone. "I will pay you." "How much?" Rosa asked. "I like her," Paula said to Evelyn. Evelyn took the phone off speaker. "Let us look at the place before anybody starts naming prices." They agreed to meet at Owen's condominium in 40 minutes. After Paula left, Evelyn carried the blue binder down the hall. The guest room had become a place for objects nobody wanted to decide about. Frank's winter coat hung behind the door. 2 unopened cartons of medical supplies sat beneath the window. Evelyn put the binder in the closet on top of a suitcase and shut the door. She could have looked up Paula's service rate, gate code, and payment history. She knew where to find all of it. That information belonged to Mercer Home Care, even if every note inside the binder had come from her head. She returned to the kitchen and opened Vanessa's stipend letter again. The monthly amount sat beneath the company letterhead in calm black type. Enough to keep her from immediate panic, not enough to keep her from eventual dependence. She folded the paper along its existing crease and left it under the sugar bowl. Owen Hannigan lived on the 3rd floor of a stucco building, designed in an era when architects believed beige tile improved morale. Paula waited near the elevator. Rosa arrived wearing jeans and an old Mercer polo, with the company name covered by a strip of silver duct tape. "You look like a hostage," Evelyn said. "I paid for the shirt. She doesn't get the shirt. You could turn it inside out. This is more expressive." Paula pressed the elevator button. "Do not be alarmed by my brother." "What kind of alarmed?" Rosa asked. "He considers assistance a form of criticism." "Then you have been criticizing him for years," Evelyn said. "Since 1968. Owen answered the door, carrying a cordless drill. He was a broad man in his early 60s with gray hair tied at the back of his neck and reading glasses hanging from a cord. "I thought you were bringing movers," he said. "I brought people who will make it possible for movers to enter," Paula replied. "They can enter now." Behind him, a narrow path wound between boxes, tool cases, towers of magazines, and a wooden bar cart holding paint cans. A rolled rug leaned against the wall, at an angle that suggested it had been falling for several days without committing. Owen looked at Evelyn. "You're the cleaning woman." "Sometimes." "And she's another cleaning woman." Rosa crossed her arms. "Sometimes." Paula stepped between them. "Show us the disaster." "It is not a disaster. It's inventory." The living room had no visible sofa, though Evelyn found one armrest beneath folded moving blankets. 3 metal shelving units held tools arranged by a system known only to Owen. The dining table was covered with electrical cords, envelopes, and small plastic drawers of screws. In the kitchen, open boxes occupied every counter. "What's already packed?" Evelyn asked. Owen pointed to 6 sealed boxes beside the balcony door. "What's in them? Books. All 6? Mostly?" "Which books?" "The ones from the shelves." Rosa crouched beside a box and read the writing on top. "Books, cables, glass lid, bathroom." "I ran out of room," Owen said. Evelyn walked through the condominium without touching anything. The bedroom was half empty. The second room was not a bedroom at all, but a workshop, with a scarred wooden bench and pegboard walls. Owen had packed his clothes. He had not packed a single tool. On a small desk near the window stood a framed photograph of Owen and Paula in younger years, wearing matching paper crowns at what appeared to be a seafood restaurant. Owen had placed a sticky note on the frame that said, "Take." Where is the new apartment? Evelyn asked. 14 minutes away. How many square feet? Enough, Paula said. 640. And this is 1400. Owen leaned the drill against his thigh. I know subtraction. Then you know not everything goes. I'm not taking everything. What have you decided not to take? He gestured toward a trash bag containing 2 empty soda bottles. Rosa made a sound that could have been a cough. Evelyn asked to see the moving contract. Owen found it under a stack of sandpaper. The movers were scheduled for 8 Friday morning. They would take furniture in sealed boxes. They would not pack, sort, dispose of chemicals, or haul donations. You need 3 categories, Evelyn said. New apartment, donation, and disposal. Tools and chemicals need a 4th, because some cannot go in ordinary trash. We label by room, not by whatever happens to fit. I know how moving works. Then, why is your bathroom in with a glass lid? Owen glanced at the box, betrayed by his own handwriting. Paula moved toward the workshop. I say donate all the duplicates. You are not touching my tools. Why do you need 4 hammers? Why do you need 12 throw pillows? My throw pillows are already moved. That does not answer the question. Evelyn stepped between them before their childhood could fully enter the room. Owen, nobody will decide what leaves. You decide. But we need a fast way for you to decide without telling us the biography of every wrench. They have differences. I believe you. Put your favorites on the bench. Rosa and I will pack them. Put possible donations on the floor. Paula will keep her opinions in the kitchen. Paula opened her mouth. In the kitchen, Evelyn repeated. Owen studied Evelyn for a moment. You're bossy for someone I haven't hired. That is why we are discussing price. They walked the rooms again. Rosa counted boxes, estimated packing paper, and listed the disposal centers that accepted paint and solvents. She calculated aloud, including mileage and the cost of renting a cargo van for Thursday. Evelyn listened until the numbers began sounding too large. 2 days, she said. We can have it ready in 2 full days and Thursday morning. Rosa looked at her. Can we? If Owen makes decisions. Owen lifted the drill. I make excellent decisions. Paula laughed so suddenly she had to turn it into a sneeze. Evelyn named a price. Rosa's head turned toward her with painful slowness. Paula said, done. That should have warned her. Owen objected because the price was too high. Paula objected to his objection. They settled it by agreeing that Owen would pay half now, and Paula would cover any disposal fees separately. Put it in writing, Rosa said. Paula smiled. I have known Evelyn 12 years. Put it in writing because you have known her 12 years. Evelyn borrowed a sheet from Owen's printer and wrote the scope by hand, packing labor, sorting assistance, donation delivery, chemical disposal coordination, movers not included. She added the price, dates, and payment terms. When she passed it to Rosa, Rosa added, additional materials require approval. You have no romance in your soul, Evelyn said. I have rent in my life. Owen signed. Paula signed below him as the responsible payer, though nobody had asked her to. Rosa photographed the paper with her phone. They agreed to start at 7 the next morning. In the elevator, Paula said, You saved me from killing him. That was not in the written scope, Rosa said. It costs extra. After Paula left, Rosa and Evelyn remained in the lobby with a list of supplies. You underpriced it, Rosa said. He'll work with us. He will explain tools to us. That is not the same as work. We don't know that. We need boxes, tape, paper, labels, heavy bags, gloves, markers, and a van. If it takes the time you promised, we each make less than I made cleaning. It's a first job. First job of what? Evelyn looked through the lobby glass at her station wagon. The back was still occupied by the banker's box from the office. Her spare shoes, coffee mug, and Frank's photograph had traveled with her all morning like a badly packed life. One job, she said. Let's survive the noun before we make it plural. They drove separately to the warehouse club. Evelyn automatically turned toward the commercial entrance, then remembered the membership card belonged to Mercer Home Care. She parked in the ordinary lot. Inside, Rosa took control of the cart. Every time Evelyn reached for something, Rosa asked its price, compared quantities, and made her calculate how much of the job it would consume. Frank bought tape by the case, Evelyn said. Frank had 14 employees. We'll use it eventually. Who is we? Evelyn put the case back. At checkout, her personal debit card hesitated long enough in the machine to make her pulse jump. Then the screen approved the purchase. They loaded supplies into the station wagon around the banker's box. Rosa picked up the cracked thermos. "You brought this?" "It was on the porch. He carried it every day." "He did." Rosa placed it upright in the cup holder, as if Frank might complain about spills. The next morning, Owen answered the door in the same clothes and announced that he had completed the tool sorting. The workbench was empty. Every tool had been moved to the floor. "These are the ones I'm taking," he said. "All of them?" Evelyn asked. "I eliminated 2 screwdrivers." Rosa walked past him without speaking. By 10, they had packed the kitchen and half the bedroom. Owen proved useful when given narrow instructions and impossible when left alone. Paula labeled boxes in large block letters, then relabeled them when Owen added objects that belonged elsewhere. Evelyn lifted a box of cookware and felt a sharp pull under her right knee. She lowered it too quickly. The bottom struck the floor. Rosa appeared beside her. "What happened?" "Nothing." "You made the nothing face." "I have several faces. That one is for pain and bad potato salad." Evelyn tried to straighten. Her knee held, but with a warning. Rosa took the box. "You sort. I lift. I can lift. You can also make this worse and leave me alone with those people." In the kitchen, Owen and Paula were arguing about a waffle iron neither claimed to own. Evelyn sat at the dining table and began separating documents from junk mail. Within 15 minutes, the work moved faster. She made lists. She assigned rooms. She stopped Paula from opening every envelope and Owen from testing every battery. By 4, the condominium looked worse than it had that morning, but the chaos had borders. Blue labels meant the apartment. Green meant donation. Red meant disposal. The mover's path was clear. Owen stood in the workshop doorway holding an old wooden-handled hammer. "My father gave me this," he said. "Then it gets blue," Evelyn said. "I have a newer one. The new apartment can hold 2 hammers." He looked at her, uncertain whether she was mocking him. "Not everything has to prove its usefulness every day to deserve a place," she said. Owen put a blue label on the hammer. On the drive home, Rosa totaled the day's expenses over the phone. The van rental would cost more than expected. The disposal site charged by weight. They still needed another person for Thursday. "How much will be left?" Evelyn asked. "For both of us?" "If nothing goes wrong, about $380 for 3 days. Yes." Frank would have said the first job was about goodwill. Frank had often said goodwill while Evelyn stretched grocery money through Thursday. She turned into her driveway and saw Vanessa's SUV parked in front of the house. Rosa was still speaking. "Evelyn, I'm here. You understand we can't price the next one like this." Through the windshield, Vanessa sat behind the wheel, waiting. "I understand," Evelyn said. This time, she meant it. Vanessa lowered her window as Evelyn got out of the station wagon. "Where is the client binder?" No greeting, no question about Evelyn's knee, though Vanessa could not have known about it. Evelyn resented her for not knowing anyway. "In the guest room closet." Why? Because Darnell packed it with my things. He thought it was personal. Most of the writing in it is personal. It contains customer access information. It contains notes. The gate codes are in the office system. It contains enough to create a serious privacy problem. Evelyn opened the rear hatch. The banker's box had tipped against the bags of packing supplies. Frank's photograph lay face down beneath her spare shoes. She righted it. Vanessa got out and looked into the car. "What is all this?" "Tape, paper, markers." "I recognize office supplies. Then why ask?" Vanessa's gaze settled on Rosa's duct-taped shirt, folded on top of a bag. Rosa had changed after work and left it behind. "Are you doing jobs with her?" "One job, for Paula Hannigan, for her brother. He is not a Mercer customer. Paula is. Her brother is not." That distinction is convenient. It is also true. Vanessa put her handbag over one shoulder. She looked tired now that the navy jacket from the email photograph was gone. She wore black trousers and a pale blue shirt with a faint coffee mark near the bottom button. Evelyn had the urge to tell her to dab it with cold water. She held the advice behind her teeth. "Paula canceled tomorrow's service," Vanessa said. "She told scheduling she would be at her brother's because you were helping him move. She didn't cancel to hire me to clean her house. She also told the scheduler that I fired Rosa after she was proven innocent." "Did she tell a lie? Do you have any idea what today was like for me?" Evelyn closed the hatch. "Rosa has no job, and I have 14 employees testing whether every decision I make is optional if they appeal to you. They're frightened. They're always frightened when something changes. Rosa did not change. You removed her. Vanessa looked toward the house. The porch light had come on automatically, though the sun had not quite gone down. Frank used to complain it was too sensitive. A squirrel could turn it on. A stiff breeze could turn it on. He had spent 3 years threatening to replace the sensor. I came for the binder, Vanessa said. Evelyn led her inside. The kitchen smelled faintly of Paula's soup and the chicken tetrazzini Evelyn had reheated the night before. Vanessa stopped beside the table when she saw the stipend letter beneath the sugar bowl. You read it? I did. You haven't signed. It does not require a signature. I thought you might have questions. I had several this morning. You were busy. Vanessa pulled out a chair but did not sit. The stipend is from the company, not me personally. That is a relief. I would hate to become a burden on someone who just acquired all my income. It wasn't your income. You drew a salary. From a business I built, you and Dad built it. Then Dad transferred his ownership. With my consent. I remember. Do you? Because you keep talking as if I tricked you. Evelyn went down the hall rather than answer. She returned with the blue binder and placed it on the table. Vanessa opened it immediately. She flipped through the sections, checking for missing pages. I didn't steal your customers, Evelyn said. I didn't say you did. You came to my house to inventory my honesty. I came to recover company property that should never have been put in your car. Vanessa reached the tab marked H through L. Paula's yellow note still protruded from the top. She paused, then pushed it back into place. Mrs. Hannigan's ceramic dog, she said. What about it? I know not to move it. Good. I know more than you think. Then why do you keep acting as if knowing things makes people unnecessary? Vanessa closed the binder. That is not what I'm doing. What would you call Rosa? A decision I had to make. You wanted that decision before the bracelet was found. Vanessa looked at her. Evelyn had not known it until she said it. Now she saw the answer in the quietness of Vanessa's face. Her labor costs were the highest on the residential crews, Evelyn said. She was a supervisor. She trained half the staff. She also resisted every scheduling change I introduced. She told you when your schedules were impossible. She told employees they could ignore the time targets if a house needed extra work, because houses do not know how long you allotted them. That's exactly the kind of thinking that put us behind on payroll. The word us entered the room, carrying Frank with it. Evelyn rested a hand on the back of the chair. Her knee throbbed in time with her pulse. Were you planning to let her go? She asked. I was planning to restructure field supervision. The complaint accelerated the decision, and finding the bracelet did not solve the underlying problem. No, it only proved the stated reason was false. Vanessa gripped the binder against her chest. You don't know the financial condition of the company. You keep saying that as though I chose not to know. You did choose. Every time I tried to show you, you said your job was people and Dad's job was numbers. Evelyn remembered saying it with a laugh, more than once. Vanessa moved toward the door, then stopped beside the counter. Frank's thermos stood near the sink. Why do you have that? It was on the porch. I thought it was in his office. He took it to the hospital the last day he drove himself. Vanessa touched the cracked cup with one finger. He shouldn't have been driving. No? You knew he was. Yes. And you didn't tell me. He made me promise. He made everybody promise something that left somebody else holding the mess. The anger in Vanessa's voice had no clean target. Frank was unavailable. Evelyn was not. Vanessa withdrew her hand. If you're taking paid work, you need insurance. I know. Do you? Evelyn thought of her debit card hesitating in the checkout machine, of the handwritten agreement in Rose's phone, of Owen's boxes stacked higher than his shoulders. Yes, she said. Vanessa gave a small nod that was not approval. Don't use the Mercer name. Then she left with the binder. Rosa arrived at Owen's the next morning with coffee and an itemized list of everything they had already spent. She had added a column labeled EVM, which Evelyn assumed meant Evelyn Mercer until she saw the amount. What is this? Estimated van money. That is not a business term. It is in my business. Owen appeared from the workshop holding a plastic organizer full of drill bits. Does this go with tools or miscellaneous? Tools, Evelyn and Rosa said together. Paula, labeling boxes in the kitchen, called, There is no miscellaneous. We outlawed it. By noon, Evelyn had stopped trying to lift. She sat on a folding chair near the center of the condominium, with a legal pad and directed traffic. At first, it felt like pretending to work. Then Rosa asked which donation center would accept medical equipment. Paula needed a decision about 6 unopened gallons of distilled water. Owen found the deed to a cemetery plot in a box marked stereo cables and stood staring at it until Evelyn quietly made an envelope for important papers. The work moved because she could see what each person was avoiding. Paula avoided sentimental objects by becoming brisk. Owen avoided decisions by explaining mechanical details. Rosa avoided worry by calculating. Evelyn avoided grief by making herself useful. When Owen found a dented aluminum pie pan, he tried to put it in the donation box. "That was our mother's," Paula said. "It is a pan. She made every Thanksgiving pie in it. She also burned half of them." She did not. The smoke detector remembers differently. Paula snatched the pan from him. Evelyn handed her a blue label. "New apartment." "I don't want it." "Then your house." "I have pie pans." Apparently none with witnesses. Paula pressed the label onto the dented rim. On Thursday, Rosa drove the rented cargo van because Evelyn's knee had stiffened overnight. They delivered 2 loads to a donation center and 1 load of paint, solvents, and old batteries to a county collection site. Owen followed them in his car and tried to reclaim a circular saw at a red light. Rosa locked the van doors. By late afternoon, the living room was visible. Blue labeled boxes formed neat walls along the edges. Furniture wore moving blankets. The path from the front door to every room was clear. Owen stood in the empty workshop. His father's hammer rested on top of the box he planned to open first. "I thought this would feel better," he said. "It might later," Evelyn said. "What does it feel like when you clear out your husband's things?" "I haven't." He nodded, accepting the honesty without trying to improve it. Paula paid the balance with a check. She also handed Rosa an envelope. "What is this?" Rosa asked. "A tip. We included labor. This is for preventing a homicide." Rosa gave it back. "We didn't finish that job. You may still kill him tomorrow." Owen laughed. It was the first time Evelyn had heard him do it. Outside, they sat in the station wagon and divided the numbers. After reimbursement, van rental, disposal, and supplies, the profit was even worse than Rosa's estimate. Evelyn tried to pay Rosa most of it. "No," Rosa said. "You did the lifting. You did the work. I sat in a chair. And somehow, 3 adults obeyed you. That's a specialized service." They split the money evenly and kept $80 aside for whatever came next. "What does come next?" Rosa asked. Evelyn looked back at the building. Paula was visible through Owen's window, holding the pie pan while he taped a box. "My insurance agent opens at 8 tomorrow. That is not an answer. It is the first one." Rosa took Owen's handwritten agreement from the glove compartment and turned it over. On the blank side, she wrote Mercer Delgado, Home Transitions. Evelyn read it twice. "You put your name second," she said. "I'm younger. I can wait. You also put my name first, without asking. You would have argued. I am arguing. Too late. It's in writing." For the first time all week, Evelyn laughed without Frank's absence swallowing the sound. Then her phone rang. The screen showed Dr. Royce. Rosa glanced at the name. "Customer?" "Yes." "Mercer, customer?" "Yes." Evelyn let it ring once more before answering. "Be careful," Rosa said. Evelyn nodded. Careful. She was beginning to understand. Could not mean motionless. "Evelyn, I hope I'm not calling it a bad time." Dr. Edwin Royce always sounded as if he were dictating a letter to someone seated very far away. "It's fine," Evelyn said. "What can I do for you?" "That is the question, apparently. Your daughter says you've retired. She says many things with excellent punctuation." Rosa put one hand over her mouth. "I'm having my hip replaced on Monday," Edwin said. "This was scheduled before Frank became ill. I intended to postpone, but my surgeon has begun using words like deterioration in a threatening manner. You should have it done." So everyone informs me. My sister toured the house yesterday and declared it a death trap. Marjorie calls, throw rugs, attempted murder. She wants the downstairs study turned into a bedroom, the rugs removed, and all necessary kitchen items relocated below shoulder level. Mercer says it can provide my regular Tuesday cleaning, but cannot move furniture or reorganize cabinets. That's correct. I was told you helped Paula's brother. Evelyn looked at Rosa. Paula had apparently needed less than a day to establish their reputation. That was separate from Mercer, Evelyn said. Rosa and I did a transition job for Owen. Would you consider doing another? Evelyn's first impulse was yes. Her second was Vanessa's voice asking if she understood insurance. When would you need it? Sunday. That soon? I have made a tactical error involving the calendar. Sunday is before your surgery, not after. My sister believes if she waits until I'm hospitalized, I will call the police when I return and find my books moved. Would you? I would consider my options. Evelyn asked what the downstairs study contained. Edwin answered, books, with the confidence of a man concealing several thousand of them. We need to see the house before I quote anything, she said. I assumed you would. And your cleaning contract stays with Mercer. We won't perform routine service. I'm not interested in staging a corporate espionage operation, Evelyn. I want my bed downstairs. They arranged to meet Friday morning. Rosa waited until the call ended. You didn't say yes. I'm learning. You also didn't say no. I'm learning slowly. On Friday at 8, Evelyn called the insurance agent who had covered Mercer Home Care before Vanessa moved the policies to a larger brokerage. Harold Lyle had been selling insurance since telephones came attached to walls. He listened without interrupting, as Evelyn described packing, sorting, furniture moving, and household transition work. You have a business entity? He asked. We have a piece of paper Rosa wrote on. Any employees? 2 owners. Are you both owners? Evelyn looked across the kitchen at Rosa, who was eating toast over the sink. Yes, she said. Rosa stopped chewing. Then, I need both of you on the application. General liability, commercial auto. If you're transporting customer property, workers' compensation once you hire, and probably a bond if you're handling keys or entering homes unattended. We aren't hiring yet. That is the least expensive sentence you've said. Harold emailed forms. The questions covered every disaster Evelyn had successfully avoided for nearly 4 decades and several she had never imagined. Do we perform roof work? Rosa read. No. Use open flame? Only when Paula cooks. Explosives? Not even when Paula cooks. They completed the application, listed the Owen job as prior work, and disclosed that they were not currently insured. Harold called back before noon. Best quote needs underwriting, he said. Likely 11 days for binding if they don't request anything else. 11 days? You changed the kind of work, Evelyn. Cleaning coverage isn't enough if you're moving furniture and transporting possessions. What if we purchase a short-term policy? You can, but the rate is ugly, and it excludes half the activity you described. Evelyn wrote down the number. It was uglier than expected. I'm not telling you what to do, Harold said. I'm telling you there is no coverage until somebody sends written confirmation. Pending does not mean active. After the call, Rosa took the pen from Evelyn and underlined no coverage twice. We should postpone Dr. Royce, she said. He goes into the hospital Monday. Then we tell him. We can move a bed and roll up rugs without destroying his home. We can also drop the bed on his foot the day before hip surgery. We've moved heavier furniture for an insured company. Insurance does not make furniture lighter. No, it makes accidents less likely to take your house. Evelyn glanced toward the hallway. At the far end, behind the guest room door, Frank's winter coat still hung where he had left it. The life insurance check had arrived 2 days before the funeral. After the burial, medical balance, and credit cards Frank had kept quieter than he should have. It amounted to less than people imagined when they heard life insurance. She had deposited it and tried not to think of it as money purchased with his absence. How much should we set aside? She asked. For what? To start properly. Rosa lowered her voice. I'm not asking you to pay for everything. I didn't say you were. I have some money. You have enough to carry yourself until you find work? Rosa looked back at the application. That's what I thought, Evelyn said. Frank left me $18,400 after everything. If I use $3,000 for premiums, registration, supplies, and a proper van rental account, I still have enough to make mistakes. Not endless mistakes. A few. You shouldn't risk Frank's insurance on me. I'm not. Rosa's face changed. I'm risking it on us, Evelyn said. If that is too frightening, say so now. It is frightening. Good. Then at least one of us is thinking clearly. Edwin Royce lived in a red brick colonial with narrow doorways and more rugs than any sensible person with an endangered hip should own. He answered the door using a silver-headed cane he admitted he did not normally use. My sister left it and threatened to count the dust on the handle, he said. Marjorie Royce was already in the study. She stood beside the desk with a yellow legal pad and the alert expression of someone preparing to cross-examine a room. "You're late," she said. "It's 9:02, Evelyn replied. "Then you agree." Edwin's study contained 2 walls of built-in shelves, 4 freestanding bookcases, a leather couch, a desk, 2 reading chairs, and a globe large enough to govern from. The daybed Marjorie wanted brought downstairs was in an upstairs guest room. "The couch goes," Marjorie said. "The couch stays," Edwin said. "You cannot have both. The study is 12 by 16 feet. "I measured," she said. "Then measure better." Rosa walked the room with a tape measure while Evelyn followed Edwin through his daily routine. Which kitchen cabinets did he use? Where were his medications? Which bathroom could accommodate the raised seat already delivered in a box? Where would he eat if the study became his sleeping room? Edwin answered everything precisely until Evelyn asked who would stay with him after discharge. "My sister will visit." "I will stay 3 nights, Marjorie said. "You will not. I already packed. You will unpack." Evelyn let them exhaust the first round. "Mercer can clean," she said. "We can arrange the house. Neither company can make you accept help." Edwin looked at the cane. "I accepted the cane." "You carried it to the door. That is not the same thing." A reluctant smile moved across his face. "You sound like Frank." "No, Frank would have told you the couch could stay, and then charged too little for removing it after it didn't fit." Rosa made a note without looking up. They found a workable arrangement. The desk would move against the shelves. 1 chair would go to the dining room temporarily. The couch could stay if they removed the globe and a side table. The daybed would fit along the interior wall. In the kitchen, they would create a waist-level station with dishes, a kettle, tea, and simple food. Rugs would be rolled, labeled, and stored in the dry basement. Rosa calculated labor, equipment, and a 3rd furniture mover. Evelyn did not interrupt. The price made Edwin blink. "The other job was cheaper," Marjorie said. "The other job taught us why," Evelyn replied. Edwin asked for the scope in writing. Rosa handed him a printed estimate she had formatted that morning, with M.D. Home Transitions at the top. "What does M&D mean?" he asked. "Mercer and Delgado," Rosa said. Edwin signed. Evelyn told him the insurance application was pending. She used Harold's exact language, though pending sounded reassuring even when followed by "not yet active." "We have done this work for years," she added. "Under another company," Marjorie said. "Yes." Edwin waved away the concern. "Nothing here is irreplaceable." He said it while resting one hand on the leather couch as if it were an old dog. They scheduled the work for Sunday. On Saturday afternoon, Edwin called. His voice had lost its courtroom distance. "I'm canceling tomorrow. Has the surgery changed?" "No." Vanessa telephoned me. Evelyn sat at the kitchen table. Rosa was across from her, comparing label prices. "What did she say?" "That Mercer remained available for my cleaning. She also said she understood you had offered transition services and wanted to ensure I knew your new operation had no active liability coverage. She called you to tell you that?" "She said my Tuesday schedule required confirmation." The rest arose in conversation. Of course it had. "Was anything she said untrue?" Edwin asked. Evelyn watched Rosa's pen stop. "No," she said. "Marjorie refuses to proceed. Frankly, I'm not enthusiastic about giving my sister another reason to describe me as reckless. I understand. I hope you do. This is not personal." The phrase rarely survived being spoken. After the call, Evelyn set the phone down. "She warned him," she said. Rosa did not ask who. "We told him," Rosa said. "He accepted until somebody made it sound dangerous." "It is dangerous. We can be competent and still be exposed." Evelyn stood too quickly. Her knee caught, forcing her hand onto the table. Rosa waited without helping. It was a kindness Evelyn appreciated only after the pain passed. "I wanted her to be wrong," Evelyn said. "Vanessa?" "Yes." "She can be right about insurance and wrong about everything else. That is very inconvenient. People usually are." Evelyn opened the estimate file on Rosa's laptop. They had already reserved equipment and arranged for a mover Rosa knew. The cancellation would cost them $90. "Pay the mover half," Evelyn said. He kept the day open. He didn't work. He turned down something else. Rosa added the expense. Then she turned the estimate over and began a new list. "What's that?" Evelyn asked. "Everything we do before coverage starts. Pricing, supply accounts, intake forms, a checklist so you stop quoting jobs based on whether you like somebody. I do not do that." Rosa wrote it first. They spent Sunday at Evelyn's dining table instead of Edwin's study. Every few hours, Evelyn looked at the clock and pictured where they would have been. Rolling rugs, measuring the daybed, arguing with Marjorie about tea tins. At 4, an email from Harold arrived confirming the application was complete. If underwriting stayed on schedule, coverage would begin the following Friday. 11 days after Owen's job, Evelyn printed the message and placed it beside Vanessa's stipend letter. One paper offered safety in exchange for stepping aside. The other offered no safety at all, only the chance to begin correctly. She picked up Rosa's price sheet. "Your hourly minimum is too low," she said. Rosa stared at her. "What?" "I'm learning faster." "I raised it twice already," Rosa said. "You raised the hourly rate. You didn't raise the minimum. What is the difference? The rate says what an hour costs. The minimum says we don't drive across town, carry 6 boxes upstairs, and spend 20 minutes hearing why someone's cousin could have done it cheaper for the price of lunch." Rosa leaned back from the laptop. "Who are you?" "Someone who just lost $90 on a bed we never moved." They set a 4-hour minimum, then spent another hour arguing about whether consultation time should be free. Evelyn said people would not pay to have 2 women walk through their clutter and ask questions. Rosa reminded her that those questions had turned Owen's 4 months of avoidance into labeled boxes. 30 minutes free, Evelyn said. 20? That sounds unfriendly? It sounds like we own watches. They settled on 30. The days before coverage began filled more quickly than Evelyn expected. Harold returned the application twice. Once because Rosa had omitted the date she started at Mercer, and once because Evelyn had checked both partnership and limited liability company. "What are we?" Evelyn asked. "Uninsured," Rosa said. "Beyond that, uncertain." They paid a small business filing service to prepare the state registration, rather than guess. The woman on the phone asked what MD stood for. "Mercer and Delgado," Evelyn said. "Does Mercer refer to Mercer Home Care?" "It refers to me. I was Mercer before the company was." Afterward, she wondered whether the sharpness had been necessary. She decided it had not, which did not mean she regretted it. They opened a business checking account with the $80 from Owen's job and a portion of the money Evelyn had set aside. Rosa insisted every expense go into a spreadsheet. Evelyn insisted the spreadsheet include a line for coffee. "Coffee is personal," Rosa said. "Coffee is infrastructure." Rosa created a category called Evelyn Infrastructure. They wrote an intake form covering stairs, pets, parking, elevators, heavy objects, chemicals, access, and family disagreements. The last category came from Owen and Paula. "How do we ask that?" Rosa said. "Is there anyone who believes they get a vote but has not been informed of the plan?" Rosa typed it exactly. Customers kept calling Evelyn's personal phone. Most wanted to complain about the retirement announcement or ask ordinary questions that the office could answer. She directed them back to Mercer. Paula tried to hire Rosa for her regular cleaning, claiming her contract renewed monthly and therefore technically expired every 30 days. "Call Vanessa," Evelyn said. "I don't want Vanessa. You signed with Mercer. I signed when you were Mercer. You still have 3 weeks left in the month. What happens in 3 weeks? You decide what service you want. Until then, you honor what you agreed." Paula grumbled, but did it. Another customer, Leonard Shaw, asked Evelyn to send Rosa because the replacement team had moved the ceramic birds on his mantel. "Did anything break?" Evelyn asked. "No, but the tall one is now beside the short one. Put them back. I don't remember the order. Check your Christmas photographs. They're visible behind the poinsettia." Leonard was silent. "This is why I need you." "No, this is why you need photographs." She gave him the office number. Each refusal hurt. Money sat inside those calls. So did proof that Vanessa could not simply remove Evelyn from people's habits. But taking a customer while a contract remained would turn trust into something cheap enough to steal. Rosa understood. She also kept a list of people who asked, with the dates their existing agreements ended. "That feels like waiting outside a marriage counselor's office," Evelyn said. "It's a calendar. Stop making it immoral." On Wednesday, a call came from a number Evelyn did not recognize. A woman named Diane Porter said Paula had recommended them. Diane and her former wife had sold a vacation cabin they still owned together, and neither wanted to spend a weekend sorting what remained inside. "What sort of things?" Evelyn asked. "Kitchenware, linens, fishing equipment neither of us has touched since the divorce. A canoe we both claim belongs to the other." When does it need to be done? Next month. Evelyn took the details, scheduled a consultation after the policy start date, and quoted nothing. When she ended the call, Rosa looked pleased. "I have learned 2 things," Evelyn said. "Do not celebrate yet, too late." Friday morning arrived with no message from Harold. At 9, Rosa called him. At 10:30, Evelyn called him. At 11:15, Harold called back and told them underwriters did not respond faster because customers took turns breathing into the telephone. At 1:07, an email arrived with a certificate of insurance attached. Coverage began at 12:01 that morning. Rosa printed 2 copies. Evelyn put one in the station wagon, one in a folder by the front door, and emailed another to herself. "Now, can we work?" she asked. "Now we can afford certain kinds of disaster." At 2, Edwin Royce called. "I have been released into a home designed by my former self," he said. "How is the hip?" "Present and demanding." "Where is Marjorie?" "Buying a shower bench I specifically rejected. That does not answer the question. She is buying it nearby." Evelyn could hear the caution in his breathing, the small pauses people used when movement had become negotiation. "Did you get the study arranged?" she asked. 2 men Marjorie hired moved the daybed downstairs. "It is currently blocking half the door, because the couch remains exactly where I said it should remain. Can you get into the bed? In theory. Can you get into it without turning sideways?" Silence. "Do you have active insurance now?" he asked. "Yes." "Written confirmation?" "I can email the certificate. Send it to my sister. She believes I am trying to die simply to win an argument." "Are you?" "Not before she does." Marjorie opened the door when Evelyn and Rosa arrived for a second assessment. She had changed from courtroom yellow pad to caregiver sweatpants, and her hair had escaped its clip. "He tried to make tea," she said. "I made tea." "You dropped the kettle lid. The lid is decorative." Edwin sat in one of the reading chairs with his operated leg extended. A walker stood within reach. The study behind him looked as if furniture had been pushed through the doorway by weather. The daybed occupied the center. The leather couch remained beneath the windows. The desk had been moved 6 inches and abandoned. Books were stacked on the floor where a chair had once stood. Evelyn sat opposite Edwin. "You cannot sleep in there safely, I'm aware. The couch has to leave. It has been in that room for 26 years, and now it is keeping you out. I could have the daybed removed. Then where will you sleep?" "My bedroom." "Upstairs?" "That is generally where bedrooms are." Marjorie made an exasperated sound. Evelyn looked at the leather couch. The arms were worn smooth. One cushion had a shallow depression from years of the same body sitting in the same place. "What happened on that couch?" she asked. Edwin frowned. "What? You are arguing like it signed your mortgage." "Why?" He shifted in the chair. "My wife chose it." Marjorie stopped moving. Edwin's wife had died 6 years earlier. Evelyn remembered the week Mercer cleaned around condolence flowers because Edwin refused to throw any away until they had fully browned. "She chose everything in the study," he said. "The couch was the first piece we bought after I was appointed to the bench." "Do you sit on it?" "Sometimes." "With your hip?" "Not recently." "Then it isn't the couch you're protecting." Edwin looked toward the windows. Marjorie sat on the arm of the other chair. Her voice softened. "We can store it." "Where?" "My garage." "You park in your garage. I can park outside." "You complain when birds, I will negotiate with the birds." Rosa said she could arrange climate-controlled storage, but Edwin shook his head. A warehouse made the couch sound abandoned. Marjorie's garage made it sound borrowed. He agreed. The estimate included Lionel Banks, a mover Rosa had worked with on difficult jobs. He was 53, careful with furniture, and willing to accept written instructions without treating them as insults. He and Rosa moved the couch while Evelyn directed the room from the doorway. Marjorie labeled kitchen drawers. Edwin objected to every third change, then admitted every second one was useful. They created a clear path from the study to the bathroom. The daybed went against the interior wall. A lamp, phone charger, medications, and water sat within reach. They placed a straight-back chair beside the bed for dressing and moved the globe to the dining room. In the kitchen, Evelyn lowered dishes and dry goods. Edwin watched from the doorway with his walker. "I am not an invalid," he said. "No, you are a man who cannot reach the second shelf without violating his surgeon's instructions. That is temporary. So are the labels." Rosa had marked one cabinet daily. Edwin peeled the label off, considered it, and pressed it back on straighter. The work took 5 hours. Their price covered Lionel, supplies, and a profit that did not embarrass Rosa. Edwin paid by check and asked for an invoice suitable for his records. Marjorie walked them to the door. "Thank you," she said. "He listens to you." "No, he doesn't," Evelyn said. "He arrives at the same conclusion after making us earn it." From the study, Edwin called, "I can hear you." That saves me repeating it. Outside, Rosa checked the time. "We finished 20 minutes under estimate." "We should refund him." "No, I was testing you." "No, you weren't." Before they reached the station wagon, Evelyn's phone buzzed with a message from Vanessa. "Edwin told the office you rearranged his home. Do not represent this as Mercer-authorized work." Evelyn typed, "I represented it as MD work. He retained Mercer for cleaning. Our insurance is active." 3 dots appeared, vanished, then appeared again. "You are creating confusion on purpose." Evelyn erased 3 responses before settling on one. "I am creating a separate service on purpose." Confusion is not the same thing. Vanessa did not answer. Rosa was loading folded blankets into the car when another message arrived, this one from Tasha. "Mrs. Mercer, are you hiring?" Evelyn read it twice. She could feel the danger of answering too quickly, the same way she had felt the weight of Owen's cookware just before her knee pulled. She handed the phone to Rosa. Rosa read the message and looked toward the Royce house. "We can't afford her yet," she said. "I know. Vanessa will say you recruited her. I know that too." The phone buzzed again. "I'm not asking because of Rosa. I need to talk to you." Evelyn looked at the new company's blankets, its borrowed hand truck, and the folder holding proof that one kind of disaster would no longer ruin her. "Tell her coffee," Rosa said. "Public place. No promises." Evelyn nodded and began to type. Careful, she had learned, could still move forward. It just charged by the hour. They chose the diner where Mercer Cruz had bought coffee for years, which made the meeting public but not neutral. 2 servers called Evelyn by name before she reached the booth. Tasha sat at the back with a cup of tea and an untouched slice of lemon pie. She was 34, lean and quick-moving, with a small gold stud in one nostril that Frank had pretended not to notice during her interview 6 years earlier. Rosa slid into the booth beside her. Evelyn took the opposite seat. "You said no promises," Tasha began. "I'm glad we agree. I also said this isn't because of Rosa." Rosa looked at the pie. "You going to eat that?" "Maybe. Then I'll wait." Tasha wrapped both hands around the tea. Vanessa changed the schedules again. Houses that had 2-person crews now get 1 person every other visit. "We have an app that counts how long we're inside. If we go over, we have to select a reason." "That's not unusual," Evelyn said. "The reasons are customer delay, employee delay, access problem, or emergency. There's no button for house was dirty," Rosa said. "Employee delay means blame yourself. That's what I selected yesterday. Why?" "Mr. Halpern had people staying in 2 rooms that were supposed to be closed. I needed 25 extra minutes." "Did you call the office?" "I sent a message through the app. Nobody answered until I was leaving. Then Grant asked why I didn't get authorization." Evelyn's attention sharpened. "Grant is approving field time? He says he's helping Vanessa with operations. Grant sells medical software. He says efficiency transfers across industries." Rosa finally took the pie. Tasha let her. "Vanessa works there," Tasha said quickly. "I'm not saying she doesn't. She was still in the office when I left at 8 last night. Darnell said she came back before 6 this morning." "What do you want from me?" Evelyn asked. "A reference. I applied at a hotel and 2 property management companies. If they call Mercer, Vanessa might say I can't meet performance targets. Can you?" "The targets? Not without leaving things unfinished. That isn't what I asked." Tasha looked down. "Yes, I can work fast. Rosa trained me. I also know which corners people pretend they don't see." Evelyn believed her. Tasha had once spent half an hour cleaning spilled bird seed out of a radiator because the customer's vacuum could not reach it. Frank had complained about the overtime, then told the story for years as proof of Mercer quality. "I'll give you a reference," Evelyn said. "And if MD starts hiring, we don't have regular hours. I can do weekends." "You already work weekends, not everyone." Rosa pushed the plate back with 1 bite remaining. "Tasha, don't leave a full-time job because you think we're about to become something. We have 1 completed customer and 1 canceled job." "2 completed," Evelyn said. "Owen and Edwin. Fine. Our empire has doubled." Tasha smiled for the first time. If you choose to leave Mercer, leave because it is right for you, Evelyn said. Not because Rosa is here, not because you're angry, and not because you think I can rescue you. I can't promise a paycheck. I didn't ask to be rescued. No. That's why I'm being honest. Tasha nodded, though disappointment made her face younger. Before they left, she said, Vanessa asked everyone to sign a confidentiality reminder. It says customer details, schedules, methods, and internal procedures stay with the company. That is reasonable, Evelyn said. She said talking to former employees about operations could lead to termination. Rosa looked at her. Then why did you meet us? Because what happens to me is my information. The answer pleased Evelyn and worried her in equal measure. Diane Porter's cabin stood 40 minutes outside town, at the end of a gravel road that narrowed every time Evelyn considered turning around. Rosa followed in her car because the station wagon had begun making a rattle that might have been harmless or expensive. Diane waited on the porch in rubber boots. Her former wife, Camille Foster, stood inside with her arms crossed. They had been divorced 5 years and jointly owned the cabin for 6, an arrangement they both described as temporary. We agreed on 3 piles, Diane said, as Evelyn entered. Mine, hers, and donation. We did not agree, Camille said. You announced. You nodded. I was drinking. Evelyn set her intake folder on the kitchen table. Before we look around, who has final authority? We both do, Diane said. That answer costs extra. Camille laughed. Diane did not. The cabin was smaller than Owen's condominium, but held more shared history per square foot. 2 fishing rods leaned beside the fireplace. Shelves displayed mismatched pottery, old board games, and photographs turned face down to make them less demanding. The canoe lay upside down behind the shed. Diane wanted the stoneware dishes. Camille said Diane had always hated them. Camille wanted a framed map of the lake. Diane said it had been a gift from her brother. Both claimed the cast-iron skillet. How soon is closing? Rosa asked. 3 weeks, Camille said. 2.5, Diane corrected. Is the buyer keeping furniture? The beds and dining table? Nothing else? Do either of you want to be here while we sort? Yes, Diane said. No, Camille said. Evelyn opened the intake form. Is there anyone who believes they get a vote but has not been informed of the plan? Camille pointed at Diane. Her brother thinks he gets the tools. He bought half of them. Then perhaps he does get a vote, Rosa said. Diane looked offended by the possibility. They walked room by room. Evelyn did not ask who had caused the divorce. The objects answered questions nobody had put to them. Camille's clothes remained in one bedroom closet, though she said she had not slept there in years. Diane knew which mug Camille preferred. The porch swing had been repaired with cord in 2 different colors because each woman had fixed one side. In the shed, they reached the canoe. It's hers, Diane said. It is not, Camille said. You wanted it. When we bought it. I hate canoeing. So do I. They stared at the canoe as if it had made fraudulent claims during the marriage. We can sell it and split the money, Evelyn said. Both answered no. Rosa wrote canoe, unresolved. Back at the table, Evelyn proposed colored labels, separate inventories, and 1 sealed veto box for each woman. Anything placed in a veto box could not be donated or sold during the job. If they still disagreed at closing, the disputed items would go to a storage unit they paid for equally. I am not paying to store a canoe neither of us wants, Camille said. Then you are motivated to decide. Rosa presented the estimate. Diane's eyebrows rose. Paula said you were reasonable. Paula hired us before we understood our costs, Evelyn said. Camille read every line. You charge for decision support. Yes. What does that mean? It means when the 2 of you spend 40 minutes arguing over a skillet, we are still working. Diane looked at Camille. I told you the arguing would cost us. You are usually the expensive one. They accepted a reduced scope. 2 full sorting days, packing of selected items, a donation run, and a written inventory. Removal of large furniture, and the canoe would be separate. Rosa collected a deposit by check. On the drive back, Evelyn's phone rang through the car speakers. Vanessa's name appeared on the dashboard. Do you want me to pull over? Rosa asked from her own car after Evelyn called her on the second line. I can manage my daughter and a speed limit. History suggests 1 at a time. Evelyn ended the call with Rosa and answered Vanessa. Were you with Tasha this morning? Yes. Why? She asked for a reference. She discussed company procedures. She discussed her own working conditions. Did you offer her a job? No. Did Rosa? No. Vanessa exhaled into the phone. Grant saw the three of you at the diner. Evelyn tightened her hands on the wheel. Grant was there. He picked up coffee. Did he sit in the parking lot and observe our pastry choices? He recognized Tasha's car. Anne reported it to you. She was meeting two direct competitors during a work week, on her own time. Please don't pretend this is innocent. What part would you like me to make guilty? Mom. The word came out exhausted rather than angry. Evelyn lowered her voice. She is unhappy. I told her not to leave Mercer for us because we cannot support her. Vanessa was silent. She said you're working until 8 and returning before 6, Evelyn added. Is she monitoring me now? She's worried about you. No, she isn't. She's collecting reasons to leave. People can do both. A truck approached too fast around a bend. Evelyn eased toward the shoulder and waited until the road widened. Grant says you're replacing regular crews with contractors, she said. I'm testing flexible staffing. Do the employees know? They know we're restructuring. That means no. You don't get to interrogate me about my company after meeting with my staff. Evelyn almost answered with the old reflex, our staff. She stopped herself. You're right, she said. Vanessa did not seem prepared for agreement. I'm not discussing Mercer with Tasha again, Evelyn continued. But if she asks me for a reference, I'll give an honest one. You don't own her employment history. I didn't say I did. You are acting frightened. I am acting responsible. You sound like Frank. The silence that followed was different from the others. Don't, Vanessa said. Then the call ended. That evening, Evelyn reheated Paula's soup and ate at the kitchen table with the MD estimate forms spread around her. She had almost finished when someone knocked. Tasha stood on the porch holding a folded Mercer polo. Vanessa fired me, she said. Evelyn did not open the screen door immediately. For meeting us? For refusing to sign a warning that said I disclosed confidential operations. Tasha's chin lifted. I told her my work schedule belongs to me. That was not a wise way to phrase it, I know. It was the true way. Behind her, the porch light shone over the empty driveway. Rosa was home with her sister. Vanessa was likely still at the office, protecting a company that seemed to require more protection every day. Evelyn opened the door. Come in, she said, but I still can't promise you a job. Tasha stepped past her. Then, promise me soup. That I can do. Tasha sat at the kitchen table with Paula's soup in one of Frank's old cereal bowls. She ate as if embarrassment required speed. Evelyn placed crackers beside her. Start at the beginning. I already told you. You gave me the final sentence. I want the paragraph. Tasha slowed down. When she returned to the office after the diner, Vanessa had asked her to come in before her afternoon job. Grant was there with a printed warning. It stated that Tasha had disclosed confidential scheduling methods and performance procedures to competing business owners. I said my schedule isn't a method, Tasha said. It's when I go to work. What else did you tell us? That the app makes us select reasons for overtime. That Grant is helping with operations. That Darnell said Vanessa worked late. Anything about customer prices? No. Alarm codes? No. Employee wages? No. I don't know anybody else's. Did you tell them that? I told Vanessa. Grant kept saying intent didn't matter because disclosure had occurred. Evelyn's dislike of Grant was becoming dangerously comfortable. Comfortable dislikes could make a person stop checking whether they were fair. What did Vanessa say? She asked. At first, not much. She told Grant to let her handle it. She changed the warning so it said internal procedures instead of confidential data. She asked me to sign that version, and you refused. I asked her to remove the part that said I knowingly violated policy. She wouldn't. So, you told her your work history belonged to you, and that I wasn't going to let her turn a conversation about pie into corporate sabotage. Despite the circumstances, Evelyn approved of the phrase. What happened then? She said if I refused the warning, I was refusing a direct instruction. I said maybe I was. She told me to turn in my keys and uniforms. Tasha looked toward the folded polo on the counter. Was she angry? Evelyn asked. She looked sick. That isn't what I asked. No, she wasn't angry. Tasha rubbed one thumb over the edge of the bowl. She looked like she wanted me to sign it, so she wouldn't have to fire me. That sounded like Vanessa too. Did she pay your vacation? Evelyn asked. She said it'll be on my final check. It had better be. Tasha smiled faintly. That's what Rosa said. I assume you called her before coming here. She told me not to ask you for a job tonight. Rosa's very wise when she's somewhere else. I'm not asking tonight. Good. I'm asking tomorrow. Evelyn covered the soup and sent the rest home with her. After Tasha left, she called Rosa. She should do the cabin job, Rosa said. We told her we couldn't promise work. One paid job is not a promise. It will look like we rewarded her for refusing Vanessa. To whom? Vanessa. Everything we do looks wrong to Vanessa. That does not mean we stop considering how it looks. Rosa sighed. Tasha needs money. We need help. Diane's job supports 3 people because we finally charge correctly. Call Harold, add whatever coverage we need, put Tasha on payroll for the scheduled days, and tell her the truth about what comes after. You make it sound simple. It is simple. It is not cheap. Evelyn was still at the table when a car pulled into the driveway. Vanessa entered with her own key, took 3 steps into the kitchen, and stopped at the sight of the folded Mercer polo. You hired her. Hello to you too. Did you? No. Vanessa looked at the empty soup bowl in the sink, the crackers, and the second spoon. But she was here. She was hungry. So now you're feeding employees I fire. She worked for us 6 years. I have fed her before. I knew this would happen. What exactly? Every person who dislikes a decision comes here and gets told I'm heartless. I did not call you heartless. You don't have to. Evelyn moved Paula's soup jar toward the center of the table. Have you eaten? That is not relevant. It becomes relevant when you start answering in full company statements. I'm not hungry. Her eyes went to the bread beside the refrigerator. Evelyn poured soup into a clean bowl. Vanessa stood another few seconds, then sat. She ate 3 spoonfuls before speaking again. Tasha was good. Then why did you make it impossible for her to stay? I gave her a warning. You gave her a confession. It was a standard corrective action form. Grant wrote it. I approved it. Why is Grant disciplining your staff? He isn't. He's helping me build processes. Processes do not require your husband in a meeting with 1 employee. Vanessa put down the spoon. Do you think I enjoy having him there? He came because I was trying to cover payroll, resolve 2 customer complaints, and find a substitute for the Wexler job after Tasha's crew refused the new schedule. Why are you covering payroll? There should be money from the Halpern deposit. There was. Dad used part of it for the payroll tax installment. Evelyn sat across from her. What installment? The one he agreed to last fall after missing a payment. He told me the tax issue was corrected. He corrected it by entering a plan. The kitchen clock ticked 2 minutes ahead. How much? Evelyn asked. Vanessa gave her the number. It was not enough to destroy the company. It was enough to make every week month dangerous. And the vans? Evelyn asked. One needs a transmission. The other 2 passed inspection, barely. Our insurance renewal increased. Half the residential accounts are priced below current labor cost. Then raise them. I did. 6 customers threatened to leave. 2 already gave notice. Were they the ones Frank refused to increase? Most of them. Evelyn pressed her palm flat against the table. Frank's kindness had always arrived with an audience. The arithmetic happened later, privately, usually in Vanessa's office. You should have told me, she said. I did. No, you told me the company needed adjustments. I brought reports to the hospital. And I was sitting with your father while he was afraid he couldn't breathe. You asked me to handle it. The words were quiet. Evelyn remembered saying, just handle whatever needs handling, honey. She had meant until tomorrow. Vanessa had apparently heard forever. You get to start something clean, Vanessa said. 2 employees, new prices, customers who already like you. I got Dad's debts, old vans, cheap contracts, and 14 people expecting Friday checks. I did not give you those debts. You signed the company over because both of you said it was the only sensible succession. It was. Then do not accuse me of giving you something you asked for. Vanessa looked down at the soup. I'm not accusing you of that, she said. I'm saying you keep judging what I do with it. Evelyn wanted to argue. Instead, she asked, is Grant pushing contract labor? He thinks it could stabilize costs. What do you think? I think contractors won't care about Mrs. Bell's satin shoe bags or Leonard Shaw's birds. I also think Caring does not pay payroll taxes. There she was, the daughter Evelyn knew, standing in both truths and unable to move. If I hire Tasha for 2 days, Evelyn said, it will be because we have a job and need her. She will not bring Mercer information. I will not ask. You already know the information. You taught her. I taught her how to work. You cannot make that confidential. Vanessa finished the soup. When you pay her, she said, withhold taxes correctly. She always adds an extra $10 per check because her sister's medical expenses make April unpredictable. Evelyn stared at her. What? You remember her withholding. I know my employees. Yes, Evelyn said. You do. Vanessa carried the bowl to the sink. Before leaving, she folded Tasha's polo with the logo facing inward. The added payroll coverage cost more than Rosa had predicted and less than Evelyn feared. Tasha filled out the forms at the dining table, signed a written acknowledgement that she would not share Mercer customer information, and read the cabin scope twice. What happens after these 2 days? She asked. We pay you, Rosa said. And after that? You go to your hotel interview. Tasha looked at Evelyn. We cannot offer steady hours yet, Evelyn said. If we get work and can afford you, we will call. If you get a secure job first, take it. Tasha signed. At the cabin, Diane and Camille began by placing colored labels on each other. This one says donation, Diane told Camille. This one says unresolved, Camille replied. Tasha looked to Evelyn. Is this normal? There is no useful answer. They worked from opposite ends of the cabin, creating inventories as they went. Tasha was fast without being careless. She wrapped pottery as if it could hear her. She also refused to let Diane place cracked plastic containers in donation boxes. Someone else does not need your trash, she said. Diane looked offended, then threw them away. The skillet went into Camille's veto box. The lake map went into Diane's. Neither woman noticed until lunch when they opened the boxes and discovered they had each protected the object the other wanted. That was not deliberate, Diane said. No, Camille replied. That would have required communication. By the second afternoon, the rooms had begun to echo. The remaining furniture stood apart from the walls. On the porch, boxes waited in 2 neat groups. The canoe remained behind the shed. Diane found Evelyn looking at it. We bought it the summer after we got married, she said. We spent more time carrying it than paddling it. Most canoes do. Camille fell out the first day. You told me you both hated canoeing. We learned. Camille came around the shed holding 2 paddles. My brother doesn't get it, Diane said. I agree, Camille replied. What do you want to do? Evelyn asked. They looked at each other with the weary fluency of people who no longer wanted a shared future, but still shared a language. Sell it, Camille said. Split the money, Diane added. Rosa wrote the decision on the inventory before either could retreat. When the job was complete, Diane paid the balance and asked whether they handled homes after hospital stays. Her neighbor would be returning from rehabilitation the following month. We do, Evelyn said. Camille asked whether they could clear an office after a business closed. Her accountant was retiring. We would need to assess it. Tasha loaded the final box into Diane's car and closed the trunk. On the drive home, Rosa calculated the profit. After payroll, mileage, supplies, insurance allocation, and taxes, the number was modest but real. We could keep Tasha one day next week, she said. For what job? Consultations, supply organization, follow-up calls. That is work we can do. That is work we are already failing to do because we are on jobs. Evelyn looked in the mirror. Tasha followed behind them in her car, one hand lifted against the late sun. At a stoplight, Evelyn's phone rang. Darnell's name appeared on the screen. She let it ring once, then twice. Rosa looked at her. You going to answer? Evelyn pressed the button. Darnell did not ask for a reference. Mrs. Mercer, he said. Vanessa collapsed at the office. Evelyn pulled onto the gravel shoulder so hard that the station wagon tilted. Is she conscious? Yes, Darnell said. His voice shook beneath the effort to sound useful. She came around almost right away. Did she hit her head? I caught her shoulder. She kind of folded against the file cabinet. Is she speaking clearly? She's arguing clearly. That sounded promising. Did you call an ambulance? She said not to. Grant's here now. He's taking her to urgent care. Which one? Crestview. Evelyn ended the call and phoned Rosa. Go, Rosa said before Evelyn finished explaining. I'll make sure Tasha gets home. I can meet you first and transfer the deposit receipts. Evelyn, I have the company folder. I have photographs of everything. Go be her mother. The road to Crestview crossed town through late afternoon traffic. Evelyn sat through 3 red lights behind a delivery van advertising restful sleep. By the second light, she had imagined Vanessa's collapse in 6 different ways. By the third, she was angry with Vanessa for every one of them. Grant stood in the urgent care waiting room, speaking into a wireless headset. He was 42, carefully shaved, and built like someone who bought exercise equipment before deciding where it would fit. His medical software job had taught him to make every conversation sound like a product demonstration. He held up one finger when Evelyn approached. "No," she said. Grant blinked. Whatever that finger means, no. He told the person on the headset he would call back. What happened? She had a syncopal episode. She fainted. That's the non-clinical term. This is an urgent care lobby, Grant, not a sales meeting. His jaw tightened. She hadn't eaten since yesterday afternoon. Too much coffee, not enough water, and apparently she's been sleeping 4 hours a night. Apparently? She doesn't tell me when she gets up. Do you tell her when you come into her office and discipline employees? Tasha violated a policy. I'm not discussing Tasha. You just did. Evelyn sat because her knee had begun pulsing from the drive. Grant remained standing. Is Vanessa being examined? They ran an electrocardiogram and took blood. The clinician thinks it was dehydration and low blood sugar, but they're checking. Can I see her? She told them one visitor. Anne chose you? I was here. The answer was honest enough to hurt. Grant sat 2 chairs away. His knee bounced. She can't keep doing this, he said. No. The company is consuming her. She believes it is the only thing proving she didn't waste 9 years. Grant's knee stopped. Did she tell you that? She didn't have to. He rubbed both hands over his face. For the first time, he looked less polished than frightened. I thought I was helping, he said. The contractor model works. You convert fixed labor to variable cost, match supply to demand, improve margin. Houses are not demand. Everything is demand if someone pays for it. That might be the saddest sentence I've heard all week. I'm trying to keep her company solvent. So is she. That is part of the trouble. A nurse opened the inner door and called Grant's name. He stood, then looked at Evelyn. Come on, he said. Vanessa sat on an exam table with a paper cup of apple juice in one hand, and adhesive patches still attached to her chest. Her color had returned enough for anger. Darnell called you. Yes. I told him not to call anybody. You fainted in front of him. His judgment became temporarily better than yours. Vanessa drank the juice. They're discharging me. The clinician said no driving, no work, and someone should stay with you tonight, Grant said. I heard her. You asked if you could stop by the office. I need my laptop. You need food. My payroll file is on the laptop. Darnell can bring it, Evelyn said. Vanessa looked at her. Darnell does not have access to payroll. Then Grant can get it. Grant shook his head. I don't know which machine. I have 1 laptop. You have 3 black bags that all look alike. Vanessa closed her eyes. Evelyn recognized the moment. Help had turned into people discussing her as if she were absent. She had spent the last week standing in that exact place. Vanessa, she said, what needs to happen before tomorrow morning? Her daughter opened her eyes. The Wexler crew needs reassignment. 1 contractor hasn't completed onboarding. Payroll has to transmit by 8, and I need the revised proposal for Grant's apartment client. Which of those requires the office tonight? Payroll and the proposal. How long? An hour. Grant began to object. 1 hour, Evelyn said. She sits. I drive her there and home. You put actual food in her refrigerator. I have food, Vanessa said. Mustard is a condiment, not a meal. Grant looked between them. The clinician said no work. The clinician also knows adults lie, Evelyn said. 1 controlled hour may prevent her from sneaking out at 5 tomorrow. Vanessa's mouth moved at one corner. Grant did not like the plan. He accepted it because Vanessa was already pulling the adhesive patches from her skin. The office code was no longer 1987. Vanessa entered 6 numbers with her body angled away, then seemed embarrassed by the gesture. Evelyn pretended not to notice. Inside, the lobby looked cleaner and less familiar. The old corkboard had been replaced with a screen displaying schedules. Frank's collection of chipped promotional pens was gone. On the far wall, the photograph of the original Mercer van still hung slightly crooked. Darnell rose from the front desk. You okay? He asked Vanessa. I'm fine. You weren't. I'm medically fine. That is not the same thing, Evelyn said. Vanessa gave her a look. but Darnell appeared relieved to have support. He had reassigned the Wexler job, contacted the customer, and moved 2 Friday houses to Saturday with permission. He had also ordered dinner for the remaining crews. "You use the company card?" Vanessa asked. "My own. Submit the receipt." "It was pizza." "Submit it anyway." Darnell nodded. Evelyn watched Vanessa review his decisions. She asked questions but did not undo them. Whatever else was true, she trusted his work enough to leave it standing. When Darnell departed, Evelyn went into Frank's old office. It was Vanessa's now. The blue client binder sat on a shelf behind the desk. Beside it were stacks of invoices, 2 empty coffee cups, and a framed photograph of Frank with Vanessa at a trade association dinner. Frank was looking at the camera. Vanessa was looking at him. "You can sit out front," Vanessa said from the doorway. "I'm getting your laptop." The other bag. Evelyn chose the correct black bag on her second attempt. Vanessa worked at the conference table while Evelyn sat across from her. The apartment proposal covered turnover cleaning for 30 furnished units leased by a corporate housing company. All 30 had to be prepared over 1 weekend before new occupants arrived Monday. "You cannot staff this," Evelyn said. "I have commitments from 2 contractor teams. Have they worked for you?" "One has, for residential jobs." 3. "This is 30 furnished apartments in 2 days. Grant's company uses them for regional placements. If we land it, the ongoing work is 12 to 15 units a month. And the first weekend, we get through it." Frank had loved that kind of sentence. Get through it meant costs live tomorrow. "How many Mercer employees?" Evelyn asked. 8, rotating. They already have weekend houses. I'm moving those customers to Friday or Monday. Have they agreed? I'm calling tomorrow. Evelyn made herself stop. This was not her company. Vanessa had asked for none of this analysis. "The price is too low," she said anyway. Vanessa looked at the proposal. "It's competitive. It's low. The recurring volume makes up for the opening weekend. If you survive the opening weekend." Vanessa pushed the laptop back. "There. The proposal is done." She sounded like a door locking. Evelyn drove her home. Grant had filled the refrigerator with prepared meals, electrolyte drinks, cut fruit, and enough yogurt to treat a dairy emergency. Vanessa stood before the open shelves. "He buys like weather is coming," she said. "He was scared. He turns fear into purchasing. People do worse." Vanessa took out a container of chicken and rice. "You were right about the price," she said, without looking at Evelyn. "Then raise it." "I can't now. They'll go with the other bidder. Then let them. It could stabilize the company, or exhaust it." Vanessa shut the refrigerator. "You got to spend 38 years believing trust would carry you through. I have 6 months to prove the numbers work." "To whom?" "The bank, the tax office, the employees, myself. Pick one." Evelyn had no answer that did not sound like comfort. Vanessa had never wanted comfort when what she needed was partnership. Evelyn was only beginning to understand how often she had confused the two. "Eat," she said. Vanessa rolled her eyes, but opened the container. MD's schedule thickened in small increments. Diane's neighbor booked a post-rehabilitation home setup. Camille's accountant hired them to inventory office furniture and pack client-neutral materials after confirming no records would leave his supervision. Tasha worked 1 day, then 3. She went to the hotel interview and turned down the position because it required overnight shifts that would interfere with helping her sister. Evelyn and Rosa did not promise full-time hours. They did promise that Tasha would know the schedule a week ahead and that canceled jobs would not erase all her pay. The promise cost money. So did proper payroll, mileage reimbursement, background checks, and the hand truck Lionel recommended after watching Evelyn try to guide a cabinet onto a blanket. Their income rose. Their expenses rose first. Former Mercer customers continued to call when their contracts ended. MD did not offer routine cleaning, and Evelyn said so every time. She referred 2 to independent companies and 1 back to Mercer after Vanessa adjusted the service schedule. Paula called this madness. "It's boundaries," Evelyn said. "It's leaving money on the table. Sometimes money belongs on someone else's table." A week after the collapse, Vanessa emailed customers announcing Mercer's new corporate housing partnership. The message included a photograph of Vanessa and Grant shaking hands with a man in a glass conference room. 30 apartments. 1 weekend? Evelyn read the announcement twice, then closed it. Late Friday afternoon, Darnell called while she and Rosa were labeling furniture at the accountant's office. "Mrs. Mercer," he said. Do you know any reliable crews available tomorrow? Evelyn looked at Rosa. For Mercer work, for the apartment contract. Vanessa needs to ask me. Darnell lowered his voice. She won't. Then you already have your answer. After the call, Rosa continued writing labels. She will ask, she said. You sound certain. I worked for your family 21 years. At 6:18, Vanessa's name appeared on Evelyn's phone. Evelyn answered. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then Vanessa said, I need help. Evelyn moved away from the accountant's open office door. What happened? One contractor team backed out an hour ago. The other promised 12 people and has 6. How many Mercer employees are available? 7 tomorrow, 5 Sunday. And the contractors? If the 6 actually come, 13 tomorrow for 30 apartments. Yes, the word carried no defense. What are you asking for? Rosa, Tasha, you. Anyone reliable you can find. Evelyn looked through the glass wall. Rosa was wrapping numbered tags around chair legs. Tasha stood on a ladder, photographing the tops of cabinets for the inventory. Lionel had left 20 minutes earlier after moving 2 file cases. We have our own work, Evelyn said. I know. We are not an emergency drawer you open when the company runs out of people. I know that too. You fired Rosa. You fired Tasha. I remember. And now you want them to give up a weekend to protect an account you priced too low. Vanessa breathed into the phone. Behind her, Evelyn could hear men talking and the hollow rumble of something rolling over concrete. Yes, she said. That is what I'm asking. No polished language, no founder emerita. Just the ugly shape of the need. I'll speak to them, Evelyn said. I will not persuade them. I can pay overtime. Not overtime. Emergency premium. We're already losing margin. Then lose more. Mom, every person we bring gets paid in advance for 12 hours Saturday and 10 Sunday. If the work takes less, they keep it. If it takes more, you pay more. In advance? Tonight. That's not how payroll works. It is how trust works after you have already removed 2 of them from payroll. Vanessa went quiet. Rosa supervises the entire floor operation, Evelyn continued. Mercer employees, MD people, contractors. One plan. Nobody changes assignments without going through her. This is my contract. Then manage the client. Rosa manages the work. Another silence. And tomorrow morning, you tell every person there what happened. No restructuring language, no flexible staffing. You say the contractor failed, you need them, and they are being paid because their weekend has value. Why do I have to make a speech? Because they have spent weeks hearing that people are interchangeable. If you want them to rescue the job, look at them while you admit they aren't. Vanessa's voice hardened. Anything else? Yes. Eat dinner. She ended the call before her daughter could. Rosa listened to the conditions without comment. Tasha climbed down from the ladder. I'll do it, Tasha said. You haven't heard the rate, Evelyn said. I heard in advance. Rosa removed her reading glasses. Who is supervising? You. Did Vanessa agree? She has not disagreed yet. That is not the same thing. It will be. Lionel was available Saturday, but had a church furniture delivery Sunday afternoon. Rosa called 2 women she trusted from turnover work, Celia Brooks and Marisol Vega. Both had left Mercer years earlier for hotel housekeeping, and both wanted the exact address, hours, rate, parking arrangement, and payment confirmation before saying yes. See, Rosa told Evelyn after the calls, romance is dead. Romance would have ruined their weekend for free. The accountant agreed they could finish his inventory Monday. Evelyn did not mention the crisis at Mercer, only that an urgent commercial job had arisen. He approved the schedule change in writing. Vanessa called back at 7-Eleven. I transferred the advance to MD. You handle payments to your people. Send the subcontract agreement and proof they're covered on site. Grant is preparing it. Have your insurance agent prepare it. A pause. Fine. Did you include Lionel? Yes. Celia and Marisol? At the rate you gave me. Rosa's supervisor, premium? I included it. And Tasha? I included everyone. Evelyn could hear how much it cost her to say the name. What time tomorrow? She asked. 6:30. The apartments are in 3 buildings at Ashford Commons. Supplies are staged in Building B. Who counted them? The contractor lead. Then nobody counted them. Vanessa made a tired sound that was almost a laugh. I'll meet you there at 6, Grant called Evelyn 10 minutes later. This arrangement eliminates the contract profit, he said. It was gone when your contractor withdrew. They aren't my contractor. You recommended them. They have completed larger deployments, not for Mercer. Vanessa agreed to your terms because she's under pressure. So are the people she needs. You're leveraging a family emergency. This is a business emergency. Family is the reason I answered. Grant had no immediate reply. If the account succeeds, he said, the recurring work could still make the initial loss worthwhile. Then you are buying a future. Futures cost money. You make everything sound personal. Cleaning someone's toilet is personal, Grant. People who forget that generally do a bad job. She ended that call too. At 5:55 Saturday morning, Ashford Commons glowed under white security lights. The buildings were new, square, and nearly identical, with covered walkways connecting 3 parking courts. A rented box truck stood beside Building B. Stacks of boxed linens, paper goods, toiletries, kitchen kits, and cleaning supplies crowded the lobby. Vanessa wore jeans, a Mercer polo, and rubber-soled shoes Evelyn had never seen. Grant stood beside a folding table with 2 laptops. Darnell checked names against a roster. The 6 promised contractors became 4. Their lead said 2 people had called out overnight. Vanessa looked at Grant. Grant looked at his laptop as if the missing workers might be hidden behind a spreadsheet. Mercer employees arrived in pairs. Some greeted Evelyn warmly. Others gave her a careful nod, uncertain which side of the family counted as employment safe. Tasha stayed beside Rosa. At 6:30, Vanessa called everyone together. The lobby quieted except for the ventilation system. The original labor plan failed, Vanessa said. A contractor withdrew yesterday, and the remaining team is understaffed. I accepted this job based on commitments that did not hold, and I did not leave enough backup in the schedule. Grant shifted behind the folding table. Vanessa continued. Everyone here is being paid a premium because this is extra work on short notice. Rosa Delgado is supervising field operations for the weekend. Assignments, standards, breaks, and completion checks go through her. If there is a problem, bring it to Rosa or me. Rosa's face showed nothing. Vanessa looked toward Tasha, then Celia and Marisol, then the Mercer crews. I know some of you have reasons not to be here, she said. Thank you for coming anyway. It was not an apology, it was close enough to cost her. Rosa took over. She divided the buildings into zones and paired people according to experience instead of company. Each apartment required a full clean, linen setup, kitchen and bathroom inventory, appliance check, remote control check, photographs, and a sealed completion card on the counter. No unit passed until someone outside the cleaning pair inspected it. Do not close a door because you are tired of the room, Rosa said. Close it because it is finished. Evelyn partnered with Marisol in the first apartment. The unit was furnished in shades of gray that appeared chosen to offend nobody and comfort no one. Plastic film covered the microwave. Dust lay inside cabinets despite the construction clean sticker on the door. They made the bed, washed shelves, cleaned the bathroom, and stocked towels. Evelyn knelt once to check beneath the sofa and had to use the armrest to rise. Marisol noticed. You're limping. I came that way. In the second apartment, the kitchen kit was missing 2 glasses and a skillet. The bathroom box contained shampoo but no soap. Evelyn walked back to Building B, found the inventory table disorganized, and carried replacement items upstairs. Halfway down the corridor, her right knee tightened. She kept walking. Inside the unit, she bent to wipe a cabinet base, and pain traveled from her knee into her hip. The cloth fell from her hand. Tasha appeared in the doorway. Mrs. Mercer? I'm fine. That phrase is having a bad month in your family. Evelyn tried to stand. Her knee refused the first request. Tasha took the skillet from her, but did not pull her up. Tell me what you need. A minute. You get 2. Rosa arrived before the first had passed. You're done cleaning, she said. I can inspect. You can sit. I did not come here to sit while everyone else works. You came here to help finish 30 apartments. We need someone controlling supplies and completion cards. Grant has mixed kitchen kits from 2 vendors. Nobody is tracking missing linens. And Building C has 1 vacuum for 4 teams. From the hall, Grant called. The kits were delivered mixed. Rosa looked toward his voice. And remain mixed under your supervision. Evelyn would have enjoyed that more if her knee hurt less. They set a folding chair beside the supply table. Grant moved 1 laptop to make room. Evelyn organized the inventory sheets, created separate missing item lists by building, and assigned 1 runner to each floor. She checked photographs as units closed and sent teams back for streaked mirrors, empty soap dishes, forgotten balcony tracks, and once, an entire unmade bed. The work sped up. It also revealed the size of the mistake. Several kitchen boxes were incomplete. 12 sets of queen sheets had arrived in king packaging. Building C's third floor had no hot water until maintenance reset a valve. The contractor crew cleaned quickly but skipped inventory unless watched. Vanessa moved from problem to problem until Rosa handed her gloves. Building A, Unit 214, Rosa said. Kitchen. I need to monitor completion. Your mother is doing that. Vanessa looked across the lobby at Evelyn. Evelyn did not rescue her. Unit 214, Rosa repeated. Vanessa went. At noon, Grant distributed sandwiches. Evelyn checked Vanessa's and found it untouched beside the laptop. She carried it to Building A. Vanessa was on the kitchen floor, scraping adhesive from beneath a cabinet edge. Her hair had escaped its ponytail. A red mark crossed one cheek where she had wiped it with a gloved hand. Lunch, Evelyn said. Put it there. Now. I'm wearing gloves. Evelyn unwrapped half the sandwich and held it out. Vanessa stared at her. This is undignified, she said. We left dignity in the parking lot Monday. Vanessa took a bite without touching the bread. Evelyn held it while she chewed, both of them pretending this was merely efficient. You were right about the time, Vanessa said. Rosa was right. You both were. Don't become generous from low blood sugar. Vanessa took another bite. By 6, 17 units had passed inspection. 3 more needed corrections. 10 had not been started. Grant proposed shortening the checklist for Sunday. No, Rosa said. The client's own representative only samples units. No. We're not talking about hygiene. We can eliminate secondary details. Under beds, inside ovens that have never been used, balcony tracks. The contract says, move in ready, Rosa said. People look under beds when they drop things. They open ovens. Tracks carry construction dust inside. We need efficiency. We needed efficiency at 6:30. Now we need enough people in enough hours. Grant turned to Vanessa. You have to make a call. Vanessa stood with both hands braced on the folding table. She looked at the completion board, then at the crews returning for supplies. We keep the checklist, she said. Grant's expression closed. Rosa nodded once. Then we start at 5:30 tomorrow. Nobody celebrated. They worked until 9. 19 apartments passed. 2 were nearly complete. 9 remained untouched. Celia and Marisol confirmed they would return. Lionel could work until noon. The 4 contractors said they needed to check with their dispatcher. In the parking lot, Vanessa leaned against her SUV and removed her gloves. The skin around her nails was red and cracked. Go home, Evelyn said. So should you. I'm not driving. Rosa is. Vanessa glanced toward Rosa's car. Your knee? Temporary. You should have stopped after the first apartment. You should have priced 30 apartments like they were 30 apartments. Neither had enough energy to make the words cruel. What if the contractors don't come back? Vanessa asked. Then we have fewer people. I can count. Good. That saves time tomorrow. Vanessa looked up at the dark rows of windows. 19 completed units were indistinguishable from 11 unfinished ones. I thought having the accounts meant I finally had control, she said. A car door closed nearby. Someone laughed from exhaustion. Evelyn followed her daughter's gaze. Accounts don't mop floors, she said. Vanessa looked at her hands. No, she said. People do. At 5:20 Sunday morning, Rosa found Evelyn setting up the folding chair beside the supply table. You brought your own chair? I didn't trust Grant to remember. You planning to behave today? I'm planning to sit aggressively. A compression sleeve showed beneath Evelyn's pants. She had iced her knee, elevated it, and slept badly while Frank's wall clock counted every turn in bed. The pain had eased to a firm warning. Vanessa arrived carrying the chair from her office. She saw Evelyn's folding chair, then looked at the one in her hands. We have 2 now, she said. That's how companies grow. Vanessa placed the office chair behind the completion board. It had a padded seat and wheels. You use that one, she said. I'm fine. Sit in the good chair, or I'll tell Rosa you tried to carry a skillet yesterday. Rosa looked up. She what? Evelyn sat. Only 2 of the 4 contractor workers returned. Their dispatcher had reassigned the others overnight. Vanessa listened to the explanation without arguing, then called the dispatcher and demanded written confirmation that Mercer would not be billed for 6 people. Grant took her aside. Evelyn could not hear every word, but she heard him say, "We need them for recurring volume," Vanessa answered. "We needed them this morning." The call ended without preserving anyone's future feelings. Rosa adjusted the teams. Lionel would stay until noon and handle every remaining heavy setup. Celia and Marisol took Building C with one Mercer employee. Darnell led the correction crew. Tasha paired with Vanessa in Building B. Tasha's eyebrows rose when she heard the assignment. Rosa said, "Is there a work problem?" "No." "Then save the other problems for after the bathrooms." They began. The first hour went smoothly because nothing had time to surprise them. By 7, 2 more apartments had passed. By 8, Building A needed only corrections. Then they discovered that the missing queen sheets had not arrived. Grant checked the delivery email. The supplier had scheduled them for Monday. "Buy them locally," Evelyn said. "We need 12 sets that match the specifications. Then call stores. Retail pricing will erase what's left of the margin. The margin is already a memory." Grant looked toward Vanessa, who was coming down the hall carrying a vacuum attachment. "We have a supplier issue," he said. She listened, then pulled out her phone. "There's a housewares store 15 minutes away and another across the highway. Buy every qualifying set they have." "At retail?" "Yes." "Vanessa, people arrive tomorrow. They require sheets." Grant took the company card and left. Evelyn watched him go. Grant did not understand the work, but he understood urgency once the choices narrowed enough. 45 minutes later, he returned with 8 sets and directions to a third store. He had also bought bottled water, bananas, and hand cream. He placed the hand cream near Vanessa's bag without mentioning it. At 10, the corporate housing representative arrived early. Brooke Sayers wore white sneakers and carried a tablet. She was younger than Evelyn had expected, though old enough to have mastered the expression of someone who did not enjoy being surprised by vendors. "I'm here to do a preliminary walk," she said. Vanessa wiped her hands on her jeans. "We agreed on a 4 o'clock inspection. A regional director is coming through at 3. I want to know what he'll see. 22 units are complete. 3 are in correction, 5 are active." Brooke looked at the board. There were 30. "Yes." "So none remain unstarted?" "Correct." That was technically true because Rosa had sent one person into each remaining unit to remove packaging and begin bathrooms. Brooke selected 4 completed apartments at random. Evelyn remained at the table while Vanessa and Rosa accompanied her. Waiting was worse than working. Evelyn reviewed photographs, initialed completion cards, and listened to the elevator rise and fall. When they returned, Brooke handed Vanessa a list. Unit 108 has dust in the bedroom vent. Unit 306 is missing a kitchen towel. The rest looked good. We'll correct both. I'll be back at 3. She left. Rosa read the list. Vent was contractor crew. The contractor lead started to defend his workers. "Not interested," Rosa said. Darnell, vent, Marisol, towel, 5 minutes. Vanessa did not add a word. Near noon, Lionel finished the last furniture setup and left for his delivery. Evelyn made sure his final hours were recorded before he walked out. "You checked twice," he said. "You left steady work to help us. I left a sofa with a man who changes his mind every 10 minutes. This was restful." He took a banana for the road. The last untouched unit had become Vanessa and Tasha's responsibility. Evelyn went up with replacement bathroom supplies and found them working in opposite rooms. Tasha was making the bed. Vanessa stood on a small step stool wiping the top of the refrigerator. "You should not stand on that," Evelyn said. Both women answered, "We know." Evelyn set down the supplies. As she turned to leave, Tasha said, "Mrs. Mercer, we need 1 queen protector. I'll send it." She reached the hall, but the apartment door remained open behind her. Vanessa said, "Your vacation was included in Friday's deposit." "I saw. And the additional withholding. I saw that too." A fitted sheet snapped across the mattress. "You were one of our best," Vanessa said. Tasha's answer came after a pause. "That made it worse." "I know. No, I mean, it made it worse that you acted like I was trying to hurt the company. I thought you were going to leave and take other people with you. I went for a reference. I know that now." "You knew it then. You just didn't trust it." Evelyn stood in the hallway with the replacement list in her hand. She should have walked away. She did not. Vanessa climbed down from the stool. "I needed the policy to hold. Then write a better policy. You refused to sign anything." I refused to sign something that said I did what I didn't do. A vacuum started in the apartment across the hall, filling the silence. Vanessa said, "I'm sorry." Tasha smoothed one corner of the bed. "For firing me? For putting a false reason in front of you? That's not the same apology." "No." Tasha looked toward the kitchen. "Protector." Evelyn carried the word downstairs before either woman noticed her. At 2:40, all 30 units were complete. Rosa kept every crew working through the correction list. No one packed supplies or changed clothes. The client had not accepted the work yet. Brooke returned with the regional director, a tall man who shook Vanessa's hand while looking past her at the board. They inspected 6 units, including 2 chosen from those completed late. Unit 2, 1-4, had a missing remote battery. Unit 330 had 1 streak on the oven door. Everything else passed. The corrections took 4 minutes. Brooke signed the completion report on her tablet. "That's all," she said. There was no applause, no speech. People exhaled and began gathering their belongings. Vanessa stood at the table with the signed report still open on the screen. For a moment, she looked as if she might cry. Then Darnell asked where to return the extra supplies, and the moment closed. Rosa lined everyone up for final time confirmation. Vanessa checked names and amounts. The Mercer employees would receive the premium in Monday's off-cycle payroll. MD's second payment had already transferred. The contractor lead signed his reduced headcount. Celia and Marisol left first. Tasha helped Darnell fold blankets. Grant loaded unopened kitchen kits into the box truck. Vanessa stopped each person before they left and thanked them by name. When she reached Rosa, the lobby had nearly emptied. "You were right about the field plan," Vanessa said. Rosa zipped her supply bag. "I usually am. I should have listened when you worked for me." "Yes." Vanessa waited for something softer. Rosa did not provide it. "Thank you for coming," Vanessa said. "I came because Evelyn asked me to consider it. I stayed because everyone was getting paid. I understand." "No, you're beginning to." Rosa lifted the bag onto her shoulder and walked out. Evelyn remained in the padded chair, her knees swollen enough that standing would require strategy. Vanessa came around the table and offered an arm. Evelyn took it. They cleaned the lobby together. Not the apartments, just the remains of managing them, checklists, cups, tape backing, banana peels, charging cables, pens. Grant asked Vanessa whether she was ready to go. "I need to return the payroll laptop to the office," she said. "I'll take it. I can take it." Grant looked at Evelyn. "She can take her own laptop," Evelyn said. He nodded, tired of being outvoted. Before leaving, he put the hand cream into Vanessa's bag. At the Mercer office, the motion light came on before they reached the door. Vanessa entered the new code without turning away this time. Inside, she placed the laptop on the conference table and sank into a chair. Evelyn sat across from her. The building hummed around them. No employees, no phones, no Frank. "How much did you lose?" Evelyn asked. "On the weekend?" "On the opening contract." After premiums, retail supplies, contractor cancellation, and the additional equipment rental, about $4,600. Evelyn kept her reaction small. "The monthly turnovers can recover it in 5 or 6 months, Vanessa said. "If the staffing holds, will it? I don't know." The admission seemed to leave her colder than the air conditioning. "Grant thinks we should keep the contractor model and build a bigger backup pool. What do you think?" "I think the people who saved this job were the people I had spent a month telling myself cost too much." Evelyn looked toward the shelf behind Vanessa's desk. The blue binder was visible through the open office door. "People do cost money," she said. "Dad acted as if that was vulgar. Your father acted as if money mentioned aloud became less polite. And you let him." "Yes." Vanessa's gaze came back to her. Evelyn folded her hands. "I let him give discounts we could not afford. I let him introduce you as our computer person after you were running half the company. When you got angry, I told you he was proud of you, because that was easier than making him say it. You always explained him to me. I thought I was keeping peace. You were keeping him comfortable." The words were not new to Vanessa. She had waited years to say them in exactly that order. "Yes," Evelyn said. Vanessa looked away. "Do you know what it was like? He promised customers things. You made those things happen, and I had to explain why we couldn't keep doing them. You two got to be kind. I became the person who said no. You were left alone with the cost. Yes, And then you became so good at seeing cost that you put Rosa in a box before you put me in one. Vanessa's face tightened. I was trying to stop the company from swallowing me, so you fed it everybody else. The sentence sat between them, painful because neither could dismiss it. Vanessa pressed her fingers against her eyes. I don't know how to run what he left. You do know. You just don't know how to make it become something it never was. What if what it was cannot survive? Then it changes. That easy? No. That simple. Vanessa looked through the office toward the photograph of the original van. I think I have to sell most of it, she said. Evelyn did not tell her it was the right decision. Which part? She asked. The residential accounts, the vans, maybe the lease. Vanessa looked around the office as if evaluating everything by weight. There are regional companies that buy service portfolios. They'd take the recurring contracts and offer positions to most of the crews. Most? That would depend on interviews and background checks. Then do not tell employees their jobs are protected until you know they are. Vanessa nodded. What would you keep? Evelyn asked. The commercial work, Halpern, Wexler, the condominium association, and the furnished apartments if we can make the recurring schedule profitable. Darnell could run field operations, 4 or 5 regular employees, not 14. That sounds like a different company. It would be. Would you still want it? Vanessa looked through the glass toward the original van photograph. I think so. Then perhaps that's the first useful question anyone has asked. Vanessa rubbed the side of her thumb. Dad wanted Mercer to stay in the family. Frank wanted his restaurants to stay open, his favorite radio station never to change hosts, and the grocery store to put canned tomatoes back in aisle 4. Your father had many wishes. You don't care? I care enough not to preserve a company by exhausting everyone inside it. That sounds like approval. It is not permission. You don't need mine. Vanessa's eyes narrowed at the distinction, then softened. I'll need help separating the accounts, she said. Some customers have combined services. Some have arrangements that were never written down. Evelyn glanced toward the blue binder. If you want me to consult, I charge by the hour. Vanessa stared at her. 30-minute consultation is free, Evelyn said. Rosa insisted. A laugh escaped Vanessa before she could decide whether it was allowed. They left the office after midnight. Vanessa locked the door. Evelyn waited beside the station wagon until her daughter's SUV started, then drove home with her swollen knee and the odd sense that something had broken without falling apart. Vanessa did not announce the sale the next morning. She spent 3 weeks gathering bids, repairing the financial statements, and asking questions she had once considered too basic to say aloud. Evelyn answered the ones she could. When she did not know, she said so instead of invoking Frank. The highest bidder wanted the customer list, the 3 usable vans, and none of the employees. Vanessa rejected it. The second wanted to fold Mercer into a call center operation 2 counties away. She rejected that one too. Brightline Household Services offered less money, but intended to keep the local routes and interview every residential employee. Its manager, a woman named Naomi Price, had begun as a cleaner and could discuss grout without checking notes. Evelyn met her once as a paid consultant and watched how she spoke to Rosa. Why did you leave Mercer? Naomi asked. I was fired, Rosa said. For cause? For being falsely suspected and expensive. Naomi turned to Vanessa. Is that accurate? Yes, Vanessa said. The answer cost her less than the parking lot speech and more than any sales presentation. Brightline made Rosa an offer to supervise its residential crews. Rosa declined. I own something now, she said. It's small and annoying, but it's mine. 4 Mercer employees accepted Brightline positions. 2 took jobs elsewhere. Darnell chose Vanessa's smaller commercial division after negotiating a title, a salary, and written authority to reject impossible schedules. Vanessa agreed to all 3. Grant stopped attending employee meetings. He continued helping with financial projections, though Vanessa began treating his recommendations as advice instead of weather. Customers received 60 days' notice and the right to end their agreements rather than transfer. The calls to Evelyn began before the letters had finished arriving. Paula wanted to know whether Brightline could be trusted. I met Naomi once, Evelyn said. She asked good questions. That is not an answer. It is the only honest one. Try the service. Watch how they treat you and the people doing the work. Leonard Shaw asked whether MD would add routine cleaning now. No. Even for the ceramic birds, especially for the birds. You have photographs. Celeste Bell refused the transfer and hired a small independent service. Edwin Royce remained with Brightline for cleaning, and with MD for everything he considered temporary, which included returning the leather couch to his study after his hip healed. When Lionel and Rosa carried it back, Edwin stood with his cane unused against the wall and directed them so precisely that Rosa threatened to charge a judicial surcharge. M-Day grew without announcing growth. A home setup produced an office clearing referral. The office job led to an estate organizer who needed reliable packing help. Diane and Camille sold the canoe, split the money, and separately recommended MD to two different people using nearly identical language. Tasha worked 4 days most weeks. Celia joined for regular transition jobs, followed by Marisol when her hotel changed schedules without notice. Lionel became their furniture specialist after Evelyn agreed that specialists could still be paid through ordinary payroll. 2 more experienced workers came through Rosa, bringing the company to 8 people if Evelyn and Rosa counted themselves. Rosa said owners counted most when payroll was due. They kept the dining table rule. For every job, Rosa printed the price, materials, mileage, insurance allocation, wages, taxes, and remaining profit. Employees could see the page before starting work. The first time Tasha studied one, she pointed to Evelyn's planning fee. "You charge more per hour than us." "Yes," Evelyn said. "Why?" "Because I price the job, visit the customer, arrange materials, take the cancellation risk, and answer the phone when someone remembers at 10 at night that a cabinet contains ammunition." "That happened once," Rosa said. "It was memorable." Tasha considered the explanation. "Okay." Evelyn waited for Frank's voice to tell her, discussing money this openly was crude. It came, then faded beneath Rosa, asking who had lost the receipt for packing paper. The business repaid the money Evelyn had advanced before the end of its first year. It did not make her rich. It covered her salary, physical therapy for her knee, and the first vacation she had taken without a Mercer customer's house key in her purse. She stopped lifting furniture. At first she announced this before every job, as if daring someone to call her unnecessary. Nobody did. Rosa needed her estimates. Tasha needed her customer notes. Lionel needed her to keep relatives out of doorways while he moved cabinets. Customers needed someone willing to ask what they were actually afraid to lose. The sale of the residential accounts paid Mercer's tax balance, cleared the worst vehicle debt, and left less than Vanessa had hoped. She and Evelyn replaced the monthly stipend with a fixed separation agreement, paid quarterly over 18 months. The amount recognized Evelyn's final unpaid salary, the transition work, and the years in which company and household expenses had been mixed too casually to separate without another war. Each hired her own accountant to review the numbers. When they signed at Evelyn's kitchen table, Vanessa brought 2 black pens and a folder with labeled tabs. Evelyn used a blue pen from the junk drawer. "You should use black," Vanessa said. "Will blue invalidate my dignity?" "No." "Then blue." The agreement did not restore what Evelyn had signed away. It made their financial relationship finite. No allowance that Vanessa could adjust. No invisible debt Evelyn had to repay through obedience. Vanessa made every payment on time. Some weeks they spoke only about the furnished apartments. Vanessa raised the recurring price when the first renewal came due. The client objected, negotiated, and accepted. The account became profitable in the ordinary way. Fewer promises, better staffing, and invoices that reflected the work. Other weeks they did not speak. Reconciliation arrived in objects before words. Vanessa returned Frank's thermos after replacing the cracked cup with one she found online. Evelyn told her the new cup was the wrong shade of red. Vanessa said that was why Frank's original had cracked in the first place. He had refused to replace anything until the exact color returned. She returned the blue binder after Brightline completed its customer transitions. Active access details had been removed, but Evelyn's household notes, old checklists, and retired account pages remained. "I had no right to send this with your shoes," Vanessa said. "It did belong to the company. That isn't what I mean." Evelyn ran a hand over the worn cover. "I thought if I controlled the information, people would have to come through me," Vanessa said. "Then they kept calling you." "They had called me for years." "I know." "No, you knew their numbers were in a system. That is different." Vanessa looked toward the guest room, where Frank's coat no longer hung behind the door. Evelyn had finally donated it after finding a dry cleaning ticket in the pocket from 6 years earlier. She kept the ticket for a week, then threw that away too. I'm sorry I put you outside the door, Vanessa said. Evelyn did not save her from the sentence. Thank you, she said. Vanessa nodded, eyes lowered. After a moment, she opened the binder to an old training checklist. The page covered first visits to occupied homes, ask before opening closed doors, never comment on medication, photograph existing damage with permission, return moved objects to their exact place, and do not confuse access with welcome. Could I copy this? Vanessa asked. The question was so small that Evelyn almost missed what had changed. Yes. For commercial onboarding. Yes, Vanessa. Her daughter took a photograph with her phone instead of removing the page. On the anniversary of Frank's death, MD's schedule showed a post-surgical setup, a downsizing consultation, and the second day of an office move. Evelyn rescheduled all three. Rosa examined the calendar. You closed the whole company? For one day. We could have taken the consultation. We could, and you said no? I am capable of development. They held dinner at Evelyn's house. Rosa brought her sister and enough rice for twice the people expected. Tasha brought the hotel pie she had once left untouched at the diner. Lionel brought folding chairs because he did not trust Evelyn's count. Celia and Marisol arrived arguing about whether flowers needed a vase before or after guests saw them. Paula came early to rearrange the food. Edwin came late and blamed traffic despite living 10 minutes away. Darnell brought a framed copy of the original Mercer van photograph. Naomi from Brightline stopped by with bread and stayed when Rosa told her leaving would be wasteful. Grant carried 2 trays from his car and asked where to put them instead of choosing. Vanessa arrived last. She stood just inside the kitchen holding a bowl of salad. The table was full. Frank's chair at the head remained empty, not as a memorial, but because Evelyn had moved it against the wall to make room for 3 smaller chairs. Where should I sit? Vanessa asked. Rosa was on one side, Tasha was on the other, with an open place between them. Evelyn nodded toward it. Where there's room. Vanessa crossed the kitchen. Tasha moved her purse. Rosa shifted the bread basket without looking up. No one made the moment easier than it was. Evelyn sat near the middle of the table, close enough to hear 3 conversations and control none of them. Her phone rang once from the counter. A customer, probably. Someone with a deadline, a key, a room that needed changing. She turned the phone off. Vanessa reached for the bread, then paused. May I? Rosa passed the basket. Vanessa took one piece and handed it on.